Grep Democrat. Pipe, Grep Cat.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, April 15th, 2018. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 1025.
This is No Agenda.
Eating stamppot met gehaktballen, draadjesvlees en Hema-worst. And broadcasting live from the Whorehouse Studios in the Garden of Amsterdam. Lauderdale and Gitmo Nation Lowlands in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from, actually, the Gulf Coast, Mississippi, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Are you sure you're there?
I think I'm from there, but listen to this.
What? Oh, you got a bell.
Yeah, they had a bell at the front desk.
No. All right, what's your sitch, baby? Where you hanging?
This is actually a real bell.
That's a real
it says
bell.
Service.
Yeah, I got a rinky dink compared to that thing.
Big sign. Yeah, I'm down here. The Gulf Coast has got some tech conference. What's the name of the tech conference? Technology Expo, creatively enough, at the Beau Rivage in Biloxi, Mississippi.
Oh.
And I'm doing a little talk tomorrow, and I couldn't get there without having to go on Saturday, so I could get there. So I'm here on Sunday.
Yes.
And doing the show on a gigabit line provided kindly by the group.
Nice. And who is the mystery voice in the background?
That's Tom, the dude named Tom.
Okay. Hello, dude named Tom. Good.
He's their equivalent of a dude named Ben.
It doesn't happen often, but from time to time, we are both in non-fixed studio locations. This is one of those times. I hope you appreciate the effort that goes into this.
Yes. Neither one of us are anywhere near.
And normalcy.
Normalcy, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm running this off of a Dell XPS gigabit going in.
What, you have a gigabit? You have a gigabit Ethernet card?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, nice.
No.
Oh, okay. I'm like, okay, that's cool. No,
it would be cool, but no.
Mm.
It's a good synchronous up and down. So it's
right. Well, you sound fantastic. Actually, I have to say
I'm using the Audio Technica 2020.
That's not
people out there.
That's not your typical mic, is it?
We've used this mic before. That's the one that fell over and you thought I was dead.
Yeah. Yes. Infamous. Yes.
And then it snapped the little connector off the bottom, and I had to get in touch with Audio Technica to have them give me another mic.
Oh, well, you should try this one when you're back home. I like it.
Yeah, it won't sound as good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here in the Gitmo Nation lowlands in the EU, no one is really talking about Syria anymore. That was very weird the way that went down here. Because it happened
what were they thinking in the EU when this stupid thing happened?
Well, you see, it happened overnight, so people woke up to almost pretty much, we're talking 6-7 hours later.
World War III.
No, exactly the opposite. Like, this is going on, but, it seems like stuff is kind of calming down. Trump may be pulling back a little. It was almost immediately, there was to me, what I saw was really not a lot of World War III talk. And then, let's say maybe a couple hours later, I was bored of looking at whatever I could find here. I brought I got the Sirius XM on my phone, which I of course have to bring here since my pager doesn't work. And all I heard was Stormy Daniels stuff.
Your pager doesn't work?
No. Gee, how could that be? The pager, it doesn't connect to the pager network in Europe. I'm so surprised.
What's it called? The sex pager? Was the phrase? No. The pager? We got you used some phrase about the pagers, got everybody all a tizzy. Stormy Daniels, yeah. Well, they're preoccupied over there. If you remember the way the British government operates,
but I'm talking that was U.S. I was listening to CNN, and all I got was Stormy news.
Well, that's not what we've been getting over here. We've been getting too much analysis of the event, why it took place. Everybody's all gung ho, and then some analysis of the poisoning. It turns out you got that data. The nerve agent used in England turns out to be something from World War I.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear that one yet. No, I didn't. What about that?
Well, what it turns out those guys, the guy that we have, the guy that works for the chemical weapons operation,
OPCW.
Yes, OPCW.
Oh, yeah, whatever that is. Yeah.
Yeah. He who told us it was a gag order. Well, apparently they were given they were allowed to do a report on the chemical. that was used in England.
Right.
And they found it to be BZ, which is some old thing from 1909. And they could find none of this Russian stuff in it. But then when the report came out, they'd left all those details out. And then they were grilled about why were those details left out. And they said, we just gave them the information and somebody else.
Yeah,
the lab did a Swiss lab did the analysis. And
yes. Oh, that's
the
it.
OPCW, whatever they are.
Well, Heather,
they left it out.
I actually heard Heather talking about this. I got a couple of short clips. And Matt is egging her on again, although I don't think that's in all of these clips, but Matt Lee is definitely needling her a bit. Here's the bit about the OPCW that they're not, of course, I think the inspectors were supposed to be boots on the ground when we started sending missiles, and we're just not waiting for the OPCW.
We believe we know who is responsible for this. We believe we know that chemical weapon was used. We will still wait for the OPCW, the OPCW will still formulate its facts and its findings, but that still does not determine, the OPCW does still not determine the responsibility. They just determine the substance.
There won't be any action taken.
Oh, who gives a crap about what the OPCW says? They're not important, apparently. They don't matter. And where do you get all this information from, Heather? How do you know? How are you so sure?
I can tell you this. Syria is responsible. We are all in agreement. I've also seen...
We're all in agreement.
We're all in agreement on this, ladies and gentlemen. Syria is responsible.
The Secretary of Defense's remarks as well. We are assessing various sources. Different government agencies and departments have different types of sources by which we gather information.
Okay.
So DOD has certain kinds of sources, State Department has different kinds of sources, and other agencies and departments have various sources. We will take a look at all of this information as it comes in, and we have to remind you that this is a dynamic situation and it's ongoing. But we'll continue to look at
Yes, that's the CYA part. Remember, it's dynamic. Anything can happen at this moment. It's not static, it's dynamic. It's like IP addresses. But it's like we're in a time warp, and was about a year ago. We're going back to that thing, if you recall, the Geneva process. Do you remember this?
No.
That's how long ago it was. That was when we were trying to get Assad out, and all the jamokes were there in Geneva, basically carving up Syria.
Oh, right. They're all in having the big meetings.
They're back again.
I think it's clear that we are obviously engaged in Syria. One of the things that's important to us is try to encourage the parties to get back to the Geneva process. So when we look at pictures, for example, of the Turks and the Iranians and others meeting to discuss the future of Syria, some of those countries are certainly don't have the best interest of Syria at heart. And that I'm specifically referring to the Russians and the Iranians and others.
What?
We would like to see us get back to the Geneva process so that there could eventually be a political
wait. So us bombing the shit out of them means we have their best interests in heart?
Isn't that beautiful?
But the Russians don't have their best interests in mind at all.
Matt has a question, obviously.
Have the best interest of Syria at heart. And that I'm specifically referring to the Russians and the Iranians and others. We would like to see us get back to the Geneva process so that there could eventually be a political solution in Syria.
Your position is that the United States has the best interests of Syria at heart, but no one else does?
I think calling for...
Hey, if you die, there's my man.
A return to the Geneva process, which is something that many countries have agreed to, has the interest of the Syrian people at heart, certainly.
But the Russians and the Iranians have both
I don't
said
think that the Russians and the Iranians have the best interests of the Syrian people at heart.
But they have called for a return to the Geneva process.
Well, they had called for that. But as we've talked about, Matt, I think your first question was about how Russia will try to turn facts on their heads. We see that happen all the time.
Yeah, we've never done that, of course.
No.
I don't think that they have the best interests.
You don't think that they really want to return to the Geneva process?
I do. They said they do.
Okay.
We're highly skeptical because we've not seen them go forward with that. Okay.
Yes.
Hi,
now, as we know on the No Agenda Show, the truth always wants to come out. Eventually, it'll pop out of your mouth. There's nothing you can do about it. It is the job of the producers of the No Agenda Show to catch you, Heather.
Okay, well, would you say today, though, that the U.S. has proof that this was the Syrian regime?
Yes.
Okay.
And we continue to look at the information. We continue to gather information and further assess it. We don't have the information to be able to provide. We aren't able to provide all of this publicly at this point because it's sensitive.
She said don't.
What were you going to say, Heather? Oh, I'm so sorry you messed it up.
Okay, well, would you say today, though, that the U.S. has proof that this was the Syrian regime?
Yes.
Yes.
And we continue to look at the information. We continue to gather information and further assess it. We don't have the information to be able to provide. We don't.
Yeah. They got nothing.
What's crazy about this, and you might have received this as well, a couple of people sent this to me. This is RT from March 17th, their live broadcast, pretty much coming from the future.
Representatives of the Russian armed forces have said they have reason to believe that the United States at its Al-Tanf base in Syria has been preparing squads of rebels, fighters, to stage a chemical provocation, a chemical weapons attack in the south of Syria, in Daraa, which borders Jordan and Israel. They've been provided, allegedly, as many as 20 tons of chlorine, as well as detonators disguised as cigarette packs. And this attack is imminent. Defense officials have said that this attack will be blamed on the Syrian government and will be used as an excuse by the United States and its allies to strike at Bashar al-Assad, his government and his military directly.
The provocations mentioned will be used as a pretext for the United States and its allies to conduct airstrikes against military and state infrastructure in Syria. We're seeing that such strikes are being prepared by warships in the Mediterranean, the Red Sea, and in the Persian Gulf.
At the same time, speaking in Astana, Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, said that the Syrian conflict is beginning to look less like a proxy war than a direct confrontation.
There are US special forces on the ground. They are no longer denying this. They are accompanied by the British, French, and special forces from other countries. It's not a proxy war anymore, but rather a direct involvement in the war. We condemn their illegal presence on Syria's territory. The US-led coalition is not legitimate from the UN point of view either. We are pragmatic people, and we understand that we should not engage in armed conflict with them.
So there's Russia Today coming to you from the future. Not a hard one to predict, probably. But
that was a month ago, but they kind of, except they do have the tonnage wrong, it seems.
Well, you know, what we're learning more and more about is...
Before you go on, I want to mention that we have two conflicting trend lines here. One is that they did something, and the other line is they did nothing, and the whole thing was staged.
Right. Well, I'm pretty convinced this was a staged. It was a false flag, I guess we'd call that. What we know is that the Obama administration, Hillary Clinton specifically, approved a secret program to smuggle chlorine from Libya to Syria, to the rebels in Syria. And, of course, we know that although ISIS may be defeated, whoever they were, there's still rebels hanging around. And you really don't hear about this topic of chlorine being smuggled or transported from Libya to Syria. You don't hear about it much on the M5M, except if you have 10,000 producers who catch stuff from time to time. This is Professor Jeffrey D. Sachs from Columbia University. He will explain exactly when and how this happened, and will even give us the name of the secret operation that it was conducted under I think this was on MSNBC.
This is a U.S. mistake.
Actually, it was on the Morning Joe show. Joe wasn't there, but Mika was, and she's very upset with this story.
Started 7 years ago, and I remember the day on your show when President Obama said Assad must go, and I looked at you and Joe and I said, how's he going to do that? Where's the policy for that?
Right.
And we know they sent in the CIA to overthrow Assad. The CIA and Saudi Arabia together in covert operations tried to overthrow Assad. It was a disaster. Eventually it brought in both ISIS as a splinter group to the jihadists that went in. It also brought in Russia. So we have been digging deeper and deeper and deeper. What we should do now is get out. I don't think it's attractive, but I think we have to understand how this happened. This happened because of us. We started a war to overthrow a regime. It was covert. It was Timber Sycamore. People can look it up, the CIA operation, together with Saudi Arabia.
You might want to look that up. It has its own wiki page, Timber Sycamore. And there's Saudi Arabia, which we predicted.
Still shrouded in secrecy, which is part of the problem in our country. A major war effort, shrouded in secrecy, never debated by Congress, never explained to the American people, signed by President Obama, never explained. And this created chaos. And so just throwing more missiles in right now is not a response.
My only concern...
We need to go, it's, by the way, not to walk away, to go to the UN Security Council, as the Admiral says, to agree with Russia on a strategy for ending the fight. But ending the fight means that we stop trying to overthrow a government, that we stop trying to support rebels who are committed to overthrowing the government. That is where this war continues, because we, to this day, back rebels that are trying to overthrow a government contrary to international law, contrary to the UN Charter, contrary to common sense, contrary to practical path. We can't do it. And it's just creating ongoing crisis to the extent of facing an imminent confrontation with Russia.
So I think this is an important conversation to have.
Yeah, we can have that conversation some other time. You tinfoil hat crazy. What are you talking about? It's Obama. There it is. Operation Timber Sycamore.
Run by the United States CIA and supplanted by various Arab intelligence agencies, most notably that of Saudi Arabia, launched in 2012 or 2013, which matches the timeline. It supplied money, weaponry, and training. Yeah, well, this is the stuff that we kept sending stuff over there, and it always ended up with the bad guys.
Yeah, of course. But it also makes me now think that the false flag was still spurred on by elements within the CIA who are on the ground.
Could be.
I mean, it's their operation. I don't think it was ever. What does it say that it was?
Yeah, they're always
closed?
Trying to make up for their mistakes when they screw something up.
And now that Pompeo is
gung ho,
they haven't. I guess they're kind of in an interim situation. They don't really have a boss, right? It's CIA right now.
Right.
Yeah, they don't have a boss. So that could be it, but but the woman that is supposed to be the boss, she's already a boss, so she's got the lower job, right?
So she just has to get approved to take over the place.
Yeah,
and we know nothing about her. We get misinformation that she's a bad person, and then we get information that she's a good guy, and that it's just like we don't have a clue what she's like.
Are you assuming her gender again?
When I said what? Good guy?
That she's a good guy.
Yeah, assuming her gender.
What we always like to do in the No Agenda Show whenever we have a big event like this is we like to produce some music, and today is no exception.
Tomahawk missiles in the dead of night. Take out all the Russians that you find. All your life you've been waiting for this chance to blow it all sky high. Tomahawk missiles in the dead of night. Even if the reason is a lie, Assad must die. It's time we blew it up to send a message to this guy.
There you go. That is our dude named Ned, Knight of the Convict Broadcasts.
Let's
listen
to the Fox analysis so you can get, because you probably haven't heard this.
No.
Over there. So let's go Ed Henry Fox analysis.
Kidoki.
Our chief national correspondent, Ed Henry, is joining us now late with details. Good evening, Ed.
Well, Shannon, great to see you. You're right. I mean, remember, this president campaigned as someone who would not be an interventionist if elected, but about a year ago did, in fact, intervene in Syria before all of this because of another chemical weapons attack. At that time, the president saying that the horrific images he had seen on television and elsewhere had led him to believe that the Assad regime needed to get a message. Tonight, they're getting what appears to be a much stronger message. In fact, as we see Damascus getting smacked from the east, south, and west from the U.S., British, and French militaries. This president also talked a lot in the campaign and in the early days of this administration about the fact that he felt President Obama, his predecessor, had made a big mistake by laying out that red line in Syria back in 2012, saying that if Assad used chemical weapons, that would be a red line and that the U.S. Would have to respond with action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot of this, there's a lot of coincidences going on. The Bolton thing is the one that's got me the most kind of irked.
Well, but from what we know, this was pretty much like the strike exactly 1 year ago, wasn't it? It's like, okay, some stuff, blew up some stuff. I mean, where was the big chemical cloud, by the way?
I know. Why would you blow up a chemical?
Is that floating over Europe at any point? Should I be worried about the big explosion from the chemical stuff they blew up, or am I just thinking simplistically?
You're thinking simplistically. They had one of the guys. Apparently, that was a research facility. One of the main things they blew up, and they had one of the top guys there walking through it on one of the shows. I don't have a clip, and he's just lamenting the fact that said two things. One is there was no chemical weapons here, and if there were, why would you bomb them? All the things you want to do. That's not
exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's the logic that nobody's discussing.
Well, the people who try to discuss it, we already had an example of that of the former UK ambassador on the previous episode. There's another example out there of a former British commander in Iraq who tried to lay the same story out on Sky News this time instead of BBC.
What we've heard from either Sergei Lavrov or indeed the Russian ambassador has made it more difficult for the UK to launch any kind of attack without putting it to Parliament.
Yeah, I think quite apart from all that, the debate that seems to be missing from this is, and this was actually mentioned by the ambassador, was what possible motive might have triggered Syria to launch a chemical attack at this time in this place. The Syrians are winning. Don't take my word for it. Take the American military's word for it. General Virgil, the head of CENTCOM, he said to Congress the other day, Assad has won this war, and we need to face that. So, and then you got last week the statement by Trump, or the tweet by Trump, that America had finished with ISIL and we were going to pull out soon, very soon. And then suddenly you get...
Okay, I'm very sorry. You've been very patient waiting for us, but we do need to leave it there. I'm very sorry. Thank you very much indeed. More to come on Sky News. Do stay tuned.
Very sorry. You've been very patient. Thank you very much. We have to leave it there. I guess
we don't need this bull crap out.
What was I looked for it. I couldn't find your clip from the last show about, you were really irked about it too. The journalist who said that there have been dozens.
Oh yes, the dozens.
Do you remember what that was titled? Because it wasn't. There was no dozens in the title. Do you remember what that might have been?
If you can read me the clip list real quick, I can tell you exactly which one it is.
I could probably read you the clip list. Hold on. This is beautiful. I can actually do this. I look under JCD clips. All right. I have, I still have the 23andMe Redux, which you gave me again today. CNN rating low, EPA escalation potential, Facebook, Harvard, insane homeless, PBS, dead Palestinians, sexual harassment. See, I can't find it, John. It makes no sense.
I can't figure out which one it is either.
But you were irked because the journalist said
it's a PBS, one of the PBS clips. So just read me those, because it's the guy from PBS who said that.
Oh, hold on.
I think there's only two of them.
PBS. PBS reports dead Palestinians. No, flat report.
No, the flat report we haven't played. I don't think.
Was this? But this, it wasn't it. Oh, wait, here we go. Escalation. I found it. I found it. Here we go.
Curtail this kind of behavior. Is your sense that we can stop Assad from using chemical weapons? I mean, he has done this dozens of times in Syria.
Okay, dozens of times, which you took quite a bit of offense to.
Well, from a journalistic perspective, dozens means at least 24.
Right.
Minimum.
Right. Well, what if his reporting was factual based upon his limited knowledge of the facts?
Well, what are the dozens of attacks?
Well,
I've only heard of 2 or 3.
I bring you shill extraordinaire, Nikki Haley, United Nations.
Oh, Nikki Haley is that? You don't forget. I want to make. I hate to do this.
Let's not say don't forget. Let's say remember.
Remember. Well, no, you want to forget.
Oh,
that you were a big fan of hers.
Oh, there's no need to bring that up. I mean,
that's what I said. I said I didn't need to bring it up.
But you did it anyway. I liked her, and now I hate her. Okay.
Yeah.
Here she is in the United Nations speaking about this. I'm very, very disturbed.
Let's be clear. Assad's most recent use of poison gas against the people of Douma was not his first, second, third, or even 49th use of chemical weapons. The United
How come
States
this has not been reported?
He did. Your guy reported dozens of times.
Yeah, well, that's where he got it from. Apparently, the same talking points. I never heard this. You think that they ought to get this guy? They're trying to screw him. They're trying to get him out of there. They're trying to do anything to ruin his reputation and kill him if they can. And if he did something 49 times, you think that somebody might want to mention it?
It gets better.
Chemical weapons. The United States estimates that Assad has used chemical weapons in the Syrian war at least 50 times. Public estimates are as high as 200.
200! Can I hear 225? Do I hear 225, 225, 225, do I hear 250, 250? Yeah, 200, she says. So why didn't we react to, why was there no video? Why was there nothing from all these
200 attacks? Were any of these before the red line, Obama's red line? If that was the case, why did Obama bomb the shit out of him?
Well, she was pressed on this, and let's count along. Let's see. And you know what? Just to give her the benefit of the doubt, when she talks about multiple missiles, we'll even count those and see if we can get to 49, 50, or maybe 5 or 200.
In the weeks after Assad's sarin gas attack last April that killed nearly 100 people, including many children, the regime used chlorine gas at least once and possibly as many as 3 times in the same area.
3 times.
Last November, just as the Joint Investigative Mechanism mandate expired, the regime attacked its people with sarin again in the Damascus suburbs.
4.
In January,
no, that's actually
Assad
5.
used at least
5.
4 chlorine-filled rockets in Douma.
We'll take 9.
And then he struck again last weekend.
10.
And thanks to Russia, there was no UN body to determine blame.
There was no body. We never saw any of this. What happened? Why didn't we know about this?
Why were we firing missiles earlier?
Because they're liars. They're real. They're full of crap. They're super duper liars. Oh, man.
She definitely sounds like a liar with that 200 thing. Wow.
And come on.
So why did they just then? What we're doing? What she's saying now is that we're cherry picking because he's just bombing people left and right with poison gas, and we pick one out of the blue because it's got the white hats and the YouTubers involved.
Well,
and we bomb the shit out of them. But we should have been bombing the shit out of them all along, or not.
I mean, the only other plausible theory. Someone's ringing the bell. That's odd. The only other plausible theory is that maybe we never had the goods on these 199 other times. And
we don't have the goods on this one.
Well, we have some goods. We got a little bit.
No,
we got media.
A fake video.
And we got the media talking about it. Maybe the media just didn't care about reporting on it back then. I don't know. And then, of course, we have Trump's tweet. And this has got to be trolling of the highest order to add mission accomplished.
I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah. He said, great job, everybody. Perfect execution. Fabulous. Woohoo! We're all fantastic. And at the end, mission accomplished. Yeah.
To give the needle to Bush?
I don't know, but they brought in my favorite former Secretary of State, William Cohen. I mean, he's my favorite because he's the guy that admitted to us having... Secretary of Defense, I think. State or defense?
No, he's not state.
No, it's defense.
No, wait. Well, now
well, it might have been. Now I know.
Okay, let's go check it out.
But I think it was state. The William Cohen is the guy who said, there's lots of weapons. People control the weather. They can create earthquakes. Earthquake machines are real.
Right. Your buddy.
Yeah, this guy. So they bring him in to talk about everything that's going on, the coincidental timing of the event, and his response to Trump's tweeting.
Of course, President Trump's strikes on Syria last night come at a time of personal and political crisis, a special counsel investigation and a criminal investigation into the president's personal lawyer. These twin challenges have drawn comparisons to 1998. President Bill Clinton responded to al-Qaeda attacks with an airstrike on Sudan. On the same day, Monica Lewinsky was to appear before a grand jury to give testimony about her affair with President Clinton. The U.S. Secretary of Defense at that time was William Cohen, who joins us. Mr. Secretary, I want to note, as someone who's a reporter then, that there was a lot of skepticism about the timing of those attacks. They turned out to be justified. How do you feel about President Trump's decision last night?
Well, I think it was justified. I did question both the means in which he communicated his intent and the message that went out to the Russians and the Syrians and the Iranians. Namely, it went out as a taunt. And I've tried to indicate in some of my past appearances that, the NFL bans taunting for a good reason. And I think at the presidential level, taunts are unwarranted because they can produce a backlash or a reaction.
I'm not sure how he does that or why, to make a comparison with NFL taunting and then taunting world leaders.
I don't know.
It's like
it's just off the wall.
Well, you want to hear off the wall? I mean, let's get an idea of Dimension B. Well, first of all, Katie Turd, but she's on MSNBC today. And who the hell did she have call in?
She kind of has her own show there.
Well, here's one of her fabulous guests who, of course, is all in on I hate Trump.
War was a terrible idea. We should have never gotten into it. Do you think that the advisors he has in place right now are going to change his mind on that sort of thing, or he's going to change their mind on that sort of thing?
I don't think he actually has a mind. I think he basically is very venal. He's looking to get himself through to the next day and put as many dollars into his bank account as he possibly can. I think this man is a danger to the United States of America.
Yep.
Ambassador Joe Wilson, thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
That's Ambassador Wilson. He has to cuss.
Yeah, listen.
We'll get invited back. You can't go on those shows and just drop a fuck you bomb.
Listen to her. But he also is like the president has no mind.
Yeah, venal.
What does venal mean, actually?
How it means you're just out for yourself. It's at a kind of a base level, at it's a good word to
throw in from time to time. Well, here's Katie's apology for what just happened.
The United States of America.
Ambassador Joe Wilson, thank you very much. We appreciate your time. I'm sorry for the vulgarity right there.
I apologize for the profanity. But these are serious times.
Yeah. Ambassador, thank you so much for calling in.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
NBC's Kelly O'Donnell is at the White House.
Okay, here's venal. Showing or motivated susceptibility to bribery. Oh, that's interesting. Corruptible, bribable, open to bribery. I didn't know was the.
That's a good one to add in there.
Yeah, so he's venal, open to bribery. In other words, he's got no morals.
Right.
They like to promote that idea. Who's this ambassador to what?
I don't know. I can't remember. But what it appears to be now is just another one of those kind of empty strikes. Just shoot around a little bit and have a big mouth. And mission accomplished.
Might be. I mean, at least when Clinton did his to get everybody off his case, he actually, he was busting up a civil war that was going on.
Right.
This isn't busting up anything.
Right.
I want you to play this Ed Henry observation of Bolton clip, which was a part of his report. I think this is kind of interesting.
You mentioned that new national security team, chiefly John Bolton, the new national security advisor, the former Fox News contributor. The small group of reporters who were in the diplomatic reception room with the president say that John Bolton, along with Sarah Sanders, the press secretary, of course, were just a few feet away from the president, out of camera range, but that John Bolton was reading along with the president line by line off to the side as he delivered those remarks, clearly having a strong influence not just on the speech but on the actual policy. Contrast that with Jim Mattis, the defense secretary, who has been urging a lot more caution.
So I'm imagining this guy, and I think this is what happened, moving his lips. Have you ever worked with anybody that does this? You're reading off a prompter, and the guy's next to you is
reading along with the prompter. Yes.
Yeah, but with his lips.
Yes, yeah. I've seen that happen. It's very annoying. It's usually done by people who are not very professional at the
Bolton,
business.
A case in point.
That's pretty funny. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, what has actually happened? Nothing.
Apparently nothing.
I mean, Assad didn't get killed, which I think is a good message towards Kim Jong-il over there in North Korea. It's like, okay, well, at least they didn't bomb him. You know, might have lobbed a couple bombs here and there.
Which is what Reagan tried to do with Gaddafi.
Oh, well, we know how it ended up with Gaddafi if you trust people.
Well, I mean, but first, before he got to the point where he's trusting people, Reagan actually lobbed bombs right at his house and killed a couple of his kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah, during the Reagan era.
Oh, wow.
Just when Gaddafi was still on the bad side of things.
Still seen as one of the best presidents ever.
Who, Reagan?
Reagan.
Yeah, no, he'll be seen that way because he's on, and I believe that's because he's on an 80-year cusp. Every president, it's a cycle for great presidents. The guy, whoever gets elected in I hate to go back to this, but whoever gets elected in 2020 will have the same. He'll be considered, or she will be considered a great president. Yeah, it was 1940, 1980, 1900. I believe it's Teddy Roosevelt. 1760. Everybody that falls on that 40-year cycle, which is part of an 80-year cycle. Every 40 years, it's a great president automatically.
Even if it would be Trump's second term.
Yes, then he would become a great president. If he gets voted out, then he'll be seen as a Jimmy Carter. If Carter got reelected instead of Reagan, he would have, whatever happens because of this economic cycle, he would have been considered a great president.
Huh. Well, Reagan never would have had this bombing take place on April 11th.
And why?
Oh, because Mercury was in retrograde. Nancy would not have allowed
That's
it.
True. Yes, he was a big time.
You have to wait until the 15th. I mean, today is the day to do it.
That was his wife. His wife wouldn't allow it.
Yeah. Wasn't she running everything while he was kind of
using the horoscopes?
Yeah. Well, it seems like business as usual. I don't know what the next step is, but I don't have a. And by the way, no one ever questions anything about this following statement. Russia, Iran, Syria. What has Iran done that we can actually point to? I mean, what is Iran's involvement in this, other than the obvious, which is the pipeline? But you're always saying Russia, Assad. You never hear what Iran is really, what their complicity is in this.
They're arming the rebels. I have no idea.
No, well, the information we're getting is subpar.
We're arming the rebels. We're arming everybody.
Yes. But who is we? Is it this? It seems to be just CIA. I still want to hold to my original theory that Trump is just doing this to do it and get out because they brought him in with this stupid, fake chemical weapons thing.
I have no idea. I mean, the pipeline theory you had last week is the best theory.
It's the best we got.
And it involves this exact same players. Why are we bombing the shit out of them with UK, France, which is Total
Oil, yeah,
and
BP Shell,
US.
BP Shell, the UK.
And so you have these oil companies. Where's Germany? How come they're not joining in?
Yeah, because
they have jets.
Oh, I'll tell you why. because they're just about to open up the Nord Stream 2. They're real happy with Russia. They like the pipelines that they have coming in. Everything, or not everything, but a lot of the gas specifically goes through Germany into Europe. So they're being real quiet. They're missing in action. In fact, there's no real EU presence. It's just these independent players.
Yeah.
All Germany is doing is making the actual chlorine bombs. That was their contribution, and they made money on it. They sold it to somebody, probably to us. Yeah. Well, it's sad. It's disturbing. It's disturbing. And Alex Jones, the seed man, was going. I mean, I can't even play the clip I have of him. It was just one big F-bomb tirade, and there's no one effing this and effing that and F Trump and F everybody. He's emergency broadcast and get on the air for 36 hours to try and save the Republic.
Wow.
Yeah.
I missed that.
How could you? It was 36 hours. No, but it's just going completely insane. And then we have all the questions in the UK. Doesn't Parliament have to approve that? And of course, I totally think this is illegal to do this. You need Congress to approve this. But then we get back to
but you're in, you're out. You do it, you leave. Okay, next time, Congress, no problem. We're not doing anything more.
Yeah.
This is the end.
Yeah. Well, not even that, but I think under the War Powers resolution, the president has. Was it 60 days, I think, or 30 days to go bomb people?
Yeah, he can do anything he wants for 30 days, 30 to 60 days.
Right. Well, poor use of your time, President. His strategy better become clear to me pretty soon, or I'm going to be very, very unhappy.
Well, not that, but it's getting more complicated with his lawyer.
Yeah. I have been following that because that's all I could really find. I have Dershowitz with a two-parter.
Oh, I'd like to hear that.
Actually,
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, actually three-part. He was on NPR. He's been around. He seems to be the only guy they go to these days, although he was never on. He couldn't get on MSNBC or CNN for a while. He was on Fox, and that only brought down
initially, if you really followed his career, initially he was a raving lunatic liberal.
Right.
And he was on MSNBC all the time.
Well, I think he is. I think he still is a raving lunatic liberal.
I think he is too, but he has a different perspective. He's what I consider is to be a libertarian liberal.
Yeah.
And also he's a very structuralist. So whatever the law says, he really analyzes things. If you don't want to hear him become a liberal, and now he will defend conservatives. He's a little bit like the ACLU. And once he started doing that, they kicked him off those stations.
Well, let me
you can't. There's nothing good about Trump, period. If you say anything about him that even sounds sympathetic, you're off. Which is kind of the way people have been looking at us.
Let's listen to his issue with raids on lawyers' offices.
Well, I think raids of lawyers' offices should be reserved for the most extreme cases. And I propose new legislation, in fact, in an article on the Hill, saying that when a raid of a lawyer's office occurs, the raid should be accompanied by a judicial officer, a judge or a magistrate, who can make a preliminary determination as to what material is privileged. I'm not worried about the rights of the allegedly crooked lawyer or doctor or priest. What I'm worried about is the rights of the innocent client, patient, or penitent that may be swept up in the raid. And the taint teams that review this consist of FBI agents and U.S. attorneys. And that seems to me like a core violation of the Fourth and Sixth Amendment, to have government officials reading through material that may turn out ultimately to be privileged and confidential, and just simply saying, oh, it's okay, we're not going to use it in the criminal case. The risks of leaks are very, very high. And the very fact that government agents are reviewing your most confidential confessions to your priest or statements to your doctor or statements to your lawyer is very troubling.
Yeah, and he says it's really an issue of the Fifth and the Fourth Amendment. And
I said Fourth and Sixth.
He said Sixth?
I think so.
And and I like how, and really only in America, I don't think there's any other country that I know of that equates your relationship between you and your priest with you and your lawyer. That's a foreign concept over here for sure.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, attorney-client privilege? No, it's not. My understanding is it's not interpreted even close. Certainly not as a priest.
You have no privilege? You have no attorney? You can't talk to your attorney, or he can testify against you? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well,
sounds like Idiocracy, the movie.
No, the whole system. Well, in the Netherlands, they don't have enough. The judge pool is too small, so they take backup judges, and they are just lawyers from big law firms. So if you want to win, you got to hire the law firm who's going to supply a judge for your case.
That seems fair.
Actually, it seems more American than they realize. You mentioned the ACLU.
Civil libertarians should be concerned. Now, the ACLU came out in favor of the raid, not even neutral, just in favor of the raid.
I'm going to point that out to you.
Good raid. Right. It supported the rule of law. I've been active in the ACLU for 55 years. I was on its national board. I never remember a situation where the ACLU, without considering the implications for civil liberties of innocent people, came out and supported government's action. It seems to me that the ACLU is now more interested in getting Trump than they are in protecting the rights of all Americans. It's a scandal and it's a shame.
I have to admit, ACLU, what a bunch of douchebags. Not, just coming out and saying, oh, yeah, this is completely okay.
They were taken over by some liberal characters, Hillbots.
Right.
And I think this was in the last few years. And they have been messing up the place, as far as I can tell.
Well,
there was some documentary about this one guy who's just a stickler for. He's just a Hillbot. He's just a Hillary.
Okay, so
she got gypped. And Trump's got to go.
So there was a change. All right. Well, we have to look. I'll look into this. I want to find out who this guy is and how he came to power, because the law is the law. I mean, you can interpret things, but come on. And then this is really the clip I thought was the best of Dershowitz. He points out something that no one is really seeing, this incredible dilemma.
There's an important issue that hasn't been discussed this morning, and that is, under the law of the Second Circuit, statements made by one's lawyer can sometimes be attributed to that person. And that puts Trump into an interesting dilemma. If he denies that Cohn is his lawyer for these purposes, then he loses any claim of lawyer-client privilege. But if he acknowledges that he was his lawyer for these purposes, then statements attributed to Cohen regarding any case involving Trump could be attributed to Trump himself. So he's on the horns of a little bit of a dilemma here.
Yeah, I can see the problem.
Yeah, well, that's probably the idea.
Unless you just say, well, he was off the meter at that moment. He was working on his own. I don't think it would hold very well, but you could try.
Well, this is going to... The latest thing is they found that he was representing crooked cabbies or something, and maybe that's why they raided the place.
Yeah.
You heard that one?
No. Crooked cabbies?
One. Yeah, crooked cabbies.
No, I hadn't heard that.
Doesn't sound right.
No. You were you were so spot on about the Me Too movement drying up right after that special election.
Yeah.
It's so completely gone, and even though today we had one of the largest, or maybe it was yesterday or the day before, one of the largest downfalls when it comes to, way bigger than Harvey Weinberg, WPP chief Sir Martin Sorrell quits the agency.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I missed that.
Oh, yeah. It is in the best interest of the business for him to resign, the company said. He has stepped down after an internal investigation into his personal conduct.
Well, it's not a Hollywood per se, but it's close.
How big is... there's WPP, there's Omnicom. Is there even a third?
Yeah, there is a third. Publicis or something.
I thought WPP acquired Publicis.
I think they're still separate. I could be wrong, but I know there's a fourth one which is very small. We were talking about PR companies.
Yeah, PR marketing
which have been
companies.
there used to be a million of them, and they all got consolidated, which seems like nothing but a conflict of interest written all over it. You hire one of these guys, and then you hire one of the advertising agencies or whatever they are, Gray, Walter Thompson, and right down the hall, another Boyle, Burnback, Doyle, whatever, they take the other client. It's like we can take all the clients because we'll just assign them to different sub companies. It's totally corrupt. This is what happened with. I've told the story before. Stop me if you think it's boring. Pearson Publishing, huge. They bought up all the computer press. They bought you except for one. You want to do a computer book. You went to Macmillan. You went to a slew of them. Even Dell was doing them, but everyone was doing computer books. Simon and Schuster, and so Pearson bought up all the computer book companies, and they all under their umbrella. And here's the game that they play, which I think is a problem with all these sorts of consolidations, which the government doesn't do anything about. With Pearson, they also bought up a company called Q.
Yeah,
Q was a big publishing company, and everything they did was for hire, no royalties. You were paid $5,000, $10,000, whatever, to do a book. Yeah. Q was no royalties. It was just a pay. You sold your book to them. You sold everything, no royalties. And so is that
even legal? Can they even force that kind of contract?
Sure, it is.
Oh, I thought that there was, you couldn't do that to someone in music anymore. I don't think.
Maybe not in music. I'd be surprised if that's true, but okay.
I could be wrong.
But in publishing,
No, I'm sorry. You're right. No, of course, music publishing is just as corrupt. You're right. Absolutely. They never even get the chance to hold on to their publishing.
So here's the game that they played, though, that was really fascinating. If you had a book that looks like it was becoming a bestseller on something or other, they would clone it and give it to Q.
Right.
And let them publish it. And then, since they owned all the different publishers, which one do you think they promoted the most?
Yeah, of course. Only one.
They promoted the one that they didn't have to pay royalties to anybody.
Wow.
So it just killed the entire computer book industry, period. And it's not what it was, that's for sure. And this is what they've done with this public relations operation. They have all these companies that used to be independent and competing with each other. This is a disaster. I'm glad that guy got burned.
Well, I've never met him, but hopefully the British press will give us a little more insight into exactly what happened. So we can do a full report.
Lurid.
Yes. Hopefully. That's what we like the most. Luridness.
Okay, well, I guess we can stop talking about that for a minute.
Yeah,
I found some interesting old clips I wanted to bring back up.
Okay.
One of them is this one just came out of the blue. I'm digging through the archives and I found this Nixon and drugs clip.
Okay.
Forbes reports on a remark by a former Nixon aide hinting that the war on drugs had a hidden purpose, that President Nixon saw the drug crackdown as a way to arrest blacks and anti-war protesters. Ehrlichman also claimed that the White House knew they were lying about drugs.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Wow. What was that on?
That was what's her? That had to be on the CBS Morning show. Because that was what's her name, the black girl,
right? Gail?
Yeah, Gail. No,
it can't be Gail.
I can't remember. There's just one of the women there.
Gail wasn't on that long. No. Oh,
she's the Oprah's girlfriend.
Yeah, that's well. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that is much longer than I thought.
This clip's only from a couple years
ago.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'm like, wow, was she around when Nixon was president? Her voice sounds the same.
I'm sure she was, but yes.
She did
this is a couple of years ago. It's a clip that for some reason we never played.
She did a piece with Elon Musk. And I've got to play this clip for you. So she went to the Tesla factory, and she's got her hard hat on, and they both got their goggles, and they're walking around, and he's showing her the couch that he sleeps on, which it was unbelievable. It was a couch and a pillow. Like, yeah, I sleep on this every night because it's so busy on the factory floor. Yeah, sure.
Bullshit.
Sure, Elon. I don't know who had the worst hairpiece, Gail or Elon. Just looking at the two of them. But here's what went wrong. Now, please bear in mind, this is the man who is warning us that robots are going to take over and kill us in the near future.
Tesla's future is tied to this car. When Musk introduced it last summer, the Model 3 was billed as the company's first mid-priced, mass-produced electric car. accessible to middle-class customers, not just the super wealthy. You said to your team, everybody get ready to meet the demand. We're going to be in production hell.
Yes.
But you didn't expect this kind of production hell, or did you?
No, it's worse than I thought.
Why is that? Why is it harder? What happened?
We got complacent about some of the things that we felt were our core technology. We put too much new technology into the Model 3 all at once. That this should have been staged.
High tech goes in the cars, but it also builds them. This is widely regarded as one of the most robotics-driven auto assembly lines on the planet. Elon, part of the thing I heard about the Model 3 is that there's too many robots. That maybe
Yeah, I agree.
You think so too? That maybe you need more people in here working.
We do.
In some cases, the robots actually slowed the production, right?
Yes, they did. We had this crazy complex network of conveyor belts, and it was not working. So we got rid of that whole thing.
This is cool, Elon.
Yeah.
That's literally how she replied. This is cool, Elon.
This is cool, Elon.
Oh, this is cool, Elon.
You should ISO that.
It's ISO'd. Believe me, it's ISO'd. This is
Now,
cool, Elon.
I have to ask you something. I saw this presentation, and she's driving around with him, and he's making a point of being hands off the wheel.
Oh, I didn't. I didn't. That maybe I didn't see that piece.
Well, I saw it. And he's driving and making a point of being hands off the wheel. Maybe this is another piece.
Yeah.
And I thought you said you had to have touch the wheel all the time when you put that.
Yeah, it's going to beep at you every 15 seconds or something. Yeah.
It wasn't beeping.
This is cool, Elon.
Oh, Elon, this is cool. But his robots didn't work, so he's replacing them with people. But yet robots, we're so close, Armageddon is coming. Shut up.
He's going to be replacing them with a ticket to Argentina.
Why?
No extradition.
He's going nowhere. Gail also had Paul Ryan on. Since we're talking about Gail, I have one more clip.
You had dinner with the president last night. There was a big photo picture with the thumbs up, very celebratory. What were you all celebrating?
Just the accomplishments we've had heretofore, and then the rest of the agenda that we're working on. We're working on infrastructure. We're working on some health care bills. We're working on lots of different bills with respect to workforce development, career and technical education. And we were celebrating the agenda we've passed and the agenda we have yet to pass this session in this spring.
Because, when I look at that picture, Mr. Speaker, I have to say I don't see anybody that looks like me in terms of color or gender. And
I really despise this line of questioning now, particularly if it starts with, I don't see anyone who looks like me.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of old white. Hey, there's no one up there who looks like me either.
No one looks like me.
No, but although when it comes to bad hair, Gail, I'm sorry, there's some rugs there. But geez, and then so Paul, this is Paul Ryan's goodbye song. I don't give a crap about the guy. He seems like a doofus. But he's saying goodbye. Okay, I'll do the interview with CBS. Okay, yes, I'll do it. Gail can interview me. And then she goes into this. And how do you answer? And I don't think he was prepared for it.
You were one of the main people that said you want to do more for the Republican Party to expand. You wanted to expand the base. Some say this president really doesn't want to expand the base. So when I look at that picture, I have to say, I don't feel very celebratory. I feel very excluded.
Well, I don't like the fact that you feel that. We need more minorities, more women in our party. And I've been focusing on that kind of recruitment. The person who I'm a mentor to, literally, technically, I became a mentor is Mia Love.
Some of my best friends are black. What are you talking about, Gail? I'm mentoring a black girl.
Somebody I recruited in a primary to come. A lot of candidates like Mia that we're recruiting all around the country because I do.
No, we're digging them up everywhere around the country. We're getting lots of black girls, Gail. Don't worry.
Believe that, and that's something I'm going to keep working on. That's something I'm not going away from.
I'm going to keep hunting black girls. I promise.
Life. I'm going to keep being involved in focusing on inclusive, aspirational politics. I'm going to keep fighting for the things I believe in, and that's among the things I want to do. I'm going to spend a lot of time with my friend Bob Woodson on poverty initiatives.
No, another black guy I know.
Those are things I care a great deal about that, frankly, I have been not able to spend time on because of a pretty busy day job.
I got no time for black people. I think he really messed it up with this one.
He did. That was bad. What he should have said was, the black community has pretty much turned against the Republican Party, and I'd like to ask you why that is.
anything but what he just did.
That's what I would have said. And then what's she going to do? Now you put her on the defensive.
Yeah, well, you should be a politician.
Yeah, I should.
I don't know.
Well, usually, even in those situations, though, you get caught off guard by what you think is a softball interview.
Yeah, and then
somebody drops a bomb in there like that. You
And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say, in the morning to you, John C. NSE stands for could have been a Republican. Dvorak.
In the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning, all ships and sea boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
Yes, in the morning to the troll room. Hello, everybody. NoAgendaStream.com. My nick seems to be changing. I think right now, I don't even know if I'm Adam C199 anymore. All kinds of technical difficulties today. We also want to say in the morning to our artist for episode 1024. The title of that was Poop Particle, which turned out to be somewhat of a downer for some people who were just saying, we're just hitting new listeners in the mouth. And they said, hey, you should check out the No Agenda show. And they're like, really, man? Really? You're going to make me look at this poop particle show? Really? That was the title of it.
That's probably why we lost all this money.
It could be.
All right, let's see what we got here.
Well, hold on. Mike Riley did the artwork for episode 1024. And that was actually an old piece we found in the Evergreens.
Yeah, so it was buried.
Yeah, it was No Agenda in the face bag logo with 2 thumbs up and a goofy-looking smirk on the guy's face.
Didn't he have it was a smirk? It was a downturned smile.
Yes. Well, it depends on how you look at it. I think you can look at it and see a downturned smile, a smirk.
And by the way, does anybody but me see a smirk on the Amazon box?
No, I see that. That's been pointed out a lot, I think.
Well, what would you put a smirk on a box?
Well, for the same reason that the Wendy's girl has mom around her neck on the necklace, and there's all these little things. It's a subliminal. Oh, we have to do a segment on subliminal advertising for you. There's tons of this stuff. Logos are very powerful. There's tons of this stuff in logos.
I think it's bull crap.
No, I think it really works. A lot of this works.
I think it doesn't work at all.
Okay, I'll get some... I will try to.
You can show. I know the subliminal stuff. I've seen all those pages, but what does it accomplish? So you got mom on the bottom of Wendy. So what?
Well, mom.
Does that mean their burger sales go sky high if they took the mom off and drop?
I think that there's some evidence in studies. Yeah, that I don't know if they took it off to see if it would drop, but I think that they probably saw an increase in moms taking or going to Wendy's more often.
Folklore.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's the devil, the skull in the ice cube. There's all these. I mean, I know, and you have guys. I have to say this: there are guys who can look at a magazine cover, and we've seen these guys, and they can say, "Oh, look at this. There's a sign of the devil. Yeah. There's this, there's that."
Yeah,
they can
point
a million things out that you're not seeing.
Right.
And okay, maybe you're seeing the sign of the devil, so maybe you're seeing 666 on there. What does that mean? You're going to go eat a baby? I mean, what does it mean? What's it going to do?
I can only speak to the subliminal positive things.
Like what?
I don't know.
Mom coming into Wendy's?
I don't know. I'll see if I can get something together for you. I'm going to work on it.
Come up with something. You better be strong.
You were on a roll today.
And talking about strong, Arnis Selimans from apparently EE. Where's that? That's Arab Emirates or Egypt? Where is that? EE.
Oh, I don't know where EE is.
$333.33. I always thought it was Arab Emirates, but I could be wrong.
No, that would be UAE. That would be UAE.
No, but just the 2 letters.
Okay.
Jobs karma, please. This takes me to night. 333, episode 716, the portal, and today I understand this is double credited.
So what he needs is a penny, first of all. He's got that one. And does he have a name? Does he have a night name?
It just says night, so it's going to be just his name.
Well, let me just check in the
Sir Armis Selimans.
Our back office notes for a second here. Sir Selmans. No, that's just Sir Selmans. That's what it's going to be. Okay. Very good. And he needs a job karma.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
And talking about a penny. So I go into the casino at Harrah's. This, by the way, this area in Biloxi, Mississippi area, has got all the casinos. It's called the Redneck Riviera. And they got these casinos, but these, at least so far, I haven't visited many of them, but I went to the Harrah's one since I was staying there.
Mm-hmm.
And all the slot machines are penny slot machines. All of them.
Really?
Yeah. Minimum bet 25 cents.
Huh.
What the hell's that all about? If it's a penny slot machine, I expect to put 2 pennies in it and make a bet. No. Minimum 30 cents, 25 cents. You can't make a bet. You can't bet a penny.
Huh.
They even have penny slot machines in Vegas where you can bet a penny. I just thought that was the weirdest thing. So what's the point? I believe it's some scam.
Do you think?
Yeah, because they say it's a penny slot machine. So there's some tax benefit or something.
It's not a penny.
Oh, you don't have enough stuff for the old people that can only bet a penny. Okay, all our slot machines are penny slot machines. Okay, you're good to go. That's my theory.
So you went in, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I did. Place stinks, by the way. Bad ventilation. I'm not a big fan of this Harrah's casino. I'll be at the Beau Rivage and check it out next.
And I didn't even know that there was gambling there. I mean, this may be new for many of our listeners and producers out there.
Highway 9, this Highway 9 or 10, not 90 goes that right through. Once you go over this bay, there's just casino. There's the Palace. There's the Harrah's. There's the Beau Rivage. There's probably a Golden Nugget. There's about up to a dozen, maybe 8, 9 of these casinos are all jungled into the same area. And yeah, it's where everyone comes down and gambles. And you go to the tables, there's a lot of old women.
Just while we're on that for a second, I went to visit Christina. She's moving to a new place in the west of Rotterdam. And here's what you see when you walk down the street in the west of Rotterdam. You see Moroccan food, pizza, Moroccan food, Greek food, cell phone store, Moroccan food, cell phone store, Greek store, cell phone store. It's all money laundering operations. It's like all like internet store, internet coffee shop, no coffee, cell phones, internet. I think you can buy Bitcoin. If you know what I mean, you need to send some money overseas. You buy some Bitcoin. They take care of it. We're all done.
That's funny.
But like two next to each other.
Yeah, well, I've always thought like half of these casinos are money laundering operations. Sir Abel Kirby.
Yes, he sent us a mix for the end of show today.
333. Yes, he's one of the good guys. Credit is Sir Abel Kirby. ITM gents, great shows and great music lately. It's always made me proud to be a producer. Please give me a shot of Jobs Karma. I'm on an airplane during Sunday's show on my way to an interview. The view is great from up here. I think I can see my house. All the best. Night of the Fighter Flight.
That's right, Sir Abel Kirby. And please listen to the end of show mix. We got a couple of really good ones today. Double Jobs Karma for you, sir.
Jobs. And jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
And we'll throw in a goat.
You've got karma.
Also got $333 from Logan from Indiana. Hello, John and Adam. This is A Block. The A Block killed. Keep it up. We're talking about last show. Keep it up for the rest of the show. First of all, douche me. My brother.
You've been de-douched.
My brother introduced me to the show last summer, and I knew immediately that I would have to contribute to the cause. Sorry it took so long. We spend hours per week deconstructing the cycle and try to help each other see through all the crap. You guys are the masters. Second, I want to give a shout out to my smoking hot wife, who is a total MILF now. She is doing great with our new son and loves you guys. That is a testament to this really being the best podcast in the universe, since she usually hates podcasts. I run into that. People hate podcasts. Why?
Yeah.
Lastly, my family and I are moving overseas soon, which is a lot of stress. I hope this first installment to you guys brings up some positive vibes to help things go smoothly. Keep up the great work. And then he says, custom mix from Mr. Curry, please, for jingles.
He's a showboat. He's a grandstander.
The FBI director has no credibility.
He's the wrong man for that position.
Comey.
James Comey.
Comey.
That's one mother I'd like to.
You've got karma.
Custom mix, you asked.
I'm waiting for a little tune.
Oh, I knew I'd miss one somewhere along the line. Okay.
Just the scream is good.
No. Let me try this.
That's the worst one.
That was horrible.
You did that on the fly.
Yeah, no kidding. Anyway, this is our favorite.
Newsbomb, Akbar.
Indeed, Sir Grand Duke Thomas Nussbaum in Virginia Beach, Virginia, 3/14/59. A pie donation as I travel from Virginia to Oregon for work. What does he do?
I don't know. Whatever it is, he's doing well.
Hugs and kisses, love and light, mac and cheese, NJNK.
All right. NJNK. Thank you very much, Sir Nussbaum.
Baronet, Sir Kevin Strange in Norwich.
No. We have no. He's not an associate.
Who?
Well, he's 168.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just reading like a robot. Thank you for nothing, Musk. You're right.
So we have
he's coming up. He'll be at the top of the list for the next segment.
We have no associate executive producers today.
No, we don't.
That doesn't happen very often. That's odd.
Yeah, that's very odd.
Well, we want to thank our executive producers for today's show. Thank you. The showing was really rather light, but luckily you guys came in the way.
I know why.
Okay.
April 15th.
Oh, of course. Tax day in the United States. You're right.
What day is today's date, by the way?
Today would be April 15th. So tomorrow is officially tax day.
Yeah, actually, Tuesday. They give you an extra day for some reason.
Oh, really? Oh. Okay. Well, still, these will be our special executive producers. We thank you profusely, I say. And we'll be thanking more people in our value for value model coming up in the second segment, $50 and above. Remember, got another show coming up on Thursday. I will be back in the Cludio. You'll be back in at home?
Yes, I will be back at home.
Remember us at
Dvorak.org/NA.
And do just like we do when we're out and about on the road. We go out there, we propagate the formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
It's a fantastic article that came out today about Austin that just shows you how lost Austin is and proves my point about Austin becoming San Francisco. As I've been noticing living downtown, Austin does not care about the homeless. They just don't care. There's no real programs. There's money, but let me tell you what the latest, greatest idea is for Austin. I'll just give you the headline. Austin is piloting blockchain to improve homeless services.
Why?
Well, part 2 of that is this is part of the mayor's challenge because we are a champion city. Here's the mayor's challenge. It's they do this with Bloomberg Philanthropy, so they're giving away money. Here it is. Use blockchain to vouch for identities of the homeless. The problem, for the more than 7,000 people who experience homelessness in Austin, my God, lack of ID can mean barriers to or delays in their access to housing, employment, and other services critical to dignity, support, and recovery.
I like that phrase.
Dignity, support, and recovery?
No, dignity support.
Dignity support. Okay. Dignity support and recovery. The idea. The city of Austin will use blockchain technology to provide homeless residents with a unique identifier that allows them to access their personal records at any time, enabling access to critical services.
Let me guess. They're going to tattoo a barcode on each one of them.
Well, that I was thinking, what are they doing? The only thing they can do is it's a QR code. So instead of a barcode, it'll be a QR code.
Well, that would hurt.
If they tattooed it, yeah. But it's like, you can give people an identity card, but no, they have to make it all swanky and make us look like a hip Silicon Valley type city. Yeah, we can use blockchain for it, baby. That'll be so cool. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Because I don't even understand what the difference is, but okay. 7,000 experiencing homelessness. Here's your QR code. So you just, when they walk up, or I guess black vans pass by on the street. Hey, let me see your barcode, your QR code. Okay, come with us. They should ask IBM to administer the back office for it, and then I think
I'm going to promote the idea of the homeless in California all going to Austin, because everyone else is going there from California. Make the homeless go there. Come on. One of the old games that they like to play, these cities like to play, is the one-way ticket, the one-way bus ticket.
Gives a whole new meaning to the term tramp stamp. These QR codes.
Ooh,
yeah,
you just came up with that.
Yeah, we could bring that back. +1 for the troll room. We could bring that back.
Oh, the troll room came up with it, not you.
Yeah, you don't have to rub it in.
Give him credit. You give him credit. I like that. Of
course I do. But I mean, this is just outrageous. They're giving away money to someone who can. This is going to solve homelessness. People experiencing homelessness. So they will be able to identify their clients more easily.
They're not going to solve anything, of course.
No, but it's a waste of money. It's an ID program. Come on.
So I have a leftover clip from last show I want to play. Mainly because I'm slowly forgetting what it's about.
Can I just do something though? I'm sorry. I wanted to close this segment out with a little song.
We have a segment? This is a segment?
When the junkie's fighting home, when the crazy's fighting home, when my tent lies in the park across the trees, all covered now with fleas.
We have full on what?
I think you could have saved that, but okay.
I thought it was going to be something different, actually. So I'm sorry.
Oh. Well, you did have now we got 2 or 3. How many of these homeless jingles do we now have? We have 2 or 3.
We probably have more than that. Yeah. Why?
Because I'm just wondering how, I just don't know. I just was wondering how many we have. It just seems like a very unusual thing to write a jingle about. Even though Chris put a huge effort into one, it's like a 2.5 minute song.
Yes.
PBS reports on dead Palestinians.
And Israeli troops shot dead 9 Palestinians. Gazan health officials said over 1,000 others were wounded. Thick smoke billowed as Palestinians burned tires to obstruct the view of Israeli snipers. The troops responded with live fire and water cannons. In all, at least 29 Palestinians have been killed in the last week. The militant group Hamas is organizing the protests.
Don't you think this should get a little more ink?
What, that they're killing people?
By the dozens.
Now, is that more than 24?
Yes, 100 something.
I don't know, John. You tell me. There is certainly in America, United States of Gitmo Nation. There's no news. There is no news. Again, I listen on my app. I'm listening to all the different news channels, and all I hear is stormy, stormy, stormy. A little bit of Syria. Lawyer. It's like people are underserved. So I'm glad you're sharing that with us.
Yeah, all these dead people. And the funny thing is that I don't know why they were starting to shoot these guys. I guess just shooting the protesters. But they lit off a bunch of tires, but not just like normally, you see a pile of tires.
Right.
We're talking about a garbage dump full that created this black smoke that actually it blocked the snipers from being able to shoot at anybody. It was quite something. Must have been very healthy to breathe that smoke.
Yeah, but haven't they been doing this for a week or two? I thought they had already
it's
been
been going
doing
on.
this.
It's just getting worse. It hasn't let up, and nobody's talking about it. I mean, you think Trump would say something. I have another clip from the last show.
Just stop while you say that. Thank you. I mean, Trump isn't doing any better either in that regard. He's also only he's only kind of responding to stuff. He's not bringing up any other issues.
I think they've finally cut him off, so they're not telling him anything.
But I did see he signed an executive order. Now, it's a little harder for me to get the executive orders the way I used to because they messed up the whole whitehouse.gov website.
Yeah, they did that on purpose.
Yes, there's no RSS feeds, and it's a mess. He signed an executive order into law, or into executive orderness, into the register, that requires all states to implement programs that force people who are on benefits to either get a job or be looking for a job, or I guess tighten up on whatever the controls they had. But you have to be, you really have to be looking for work in most instances. And this used
I heard about
this used to be a front page thing, and now you don't even hear about it. I had to read it. I just happened to go and take a look at the whitehouse.gov site. Didn't the Democrats make a big stink about him even suggesting doing this at some point? Like, you're racist?
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have, but they didn't.
Yeah, here it is. Executive order reducing poverty in America by promoting opportunity and economic mobility.
There's no work for most people that are out of work like that.
Right, but that doesn't mean that you didn't sign this. Well, you have to be looking for work. That's the idea.
Okay, I guess you could be sleeping in your bed looking for work in your dreams.
You got reporting systems. You have to prove. They have that over here, and it's an incredible scam. There's a couple of people have told me about it because, of course, you've got the social welfare or the social net here. That if you fall off the wagon, then you're still going to be pretty okay. And all they have to do really is make a couple phone calls or have proof with an email and say, hey, I'd love to come and do an interview, see if I can get a job. And then the person replies, says, okay, Monday, 3 p.m. And this is what I hear from pretty much everyone who's told me the story. The next email they get is, I really can't make it at Monday, 3 p.m. Maybe Tuesday. They really just basically bow out and get out of it, because they already have the one email they needed where they can prove that they sent something off and they have an interview. And then they take that to the employment office or whatever we need comprehensive reform there, is what I think.
Yeah, well, I think we need, I don't know what we need. Play this clip. This one here's I want you to comment on what you think you've heard. Zuma has been arrested in South Africa. There's another thing nobody's going to talk about in the news.
Okay, why was he arrested?
Because he's a corrupt prick.
But who arrested him?
The government.
Okay.
Zuma and this is his kind of excuse. He's kind of pissed off about getting arrested since he ran the place for so long.
In South Africa, former President Jacob Zuma made his first court appearance on corruption charges and insisted that they're politically motivated. He is accused of fraud, racketeering, and money laundering in an arms deal from the 1990s. The 75-year-old arrived at the packed courtroom in Durban for a brief hearing. Afterward, he rallied with supporters and proclaimed his innocence.
It has now appeared to me that those that are in charge of the law, and politicians as well, and just as everyone has human rights, I'm singled out as not having any human rights. They talk about me whatever way. Truth be told, they are lucky that people are no longer beaten.
Hey, you're lucky. I'm not beating you. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like, what did he say?
You think that was an accurate translation? I'm gonna give you a borderline for that. I haven't heard a good one like that in a while.
Clip of the day.
Hey, lucky. You weren't getting beaten up.
Beaten. I have nothing to say, and in addition to his comments.
Yeah.
I have another old clip. Not that I'm doing a clip blitz.
No. It seems like you were on the road and needed to grab some clips before you left.
It's a problem.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. Calm down. We're good.
I know you got a ton of clips, so I'm not too worried.
Yeah.
But I found a bunch of clips that we either passed over or they're forgotten. But I thought this was interesting. This is someone's on the Antiques Roadshow. I don't know if you ever watched that show.
Oh, I love the Antiques Roadshow. The format is one of the best, and I'll just explain briefly why. Because it's really a home game. You sit there, you watch the item, and then you're supposed to guess the price. That's the whole point. Of course, it's great. It's a lot of fun. And you're like, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. I know my dressers.
I nailed it.
I know my cuckoo clocks. I know my Civil War memorabilia.
It's a genius show.
It's very good, yes.
So here's a strange reaction on Antiques Roadshow.
With you, is the fact that you've had it in your family, on your wall. I've had a look at the back, even the nails in the same place. This is its original frame. It's never been out of its frame. And one of the things about that impasto is it catches some of the dirt. You can see that there. So it could stand a little bit of a cleaning. If I were to put an auction estimate on it, I'd put it in at $200,000 to $300,000.
Oh, that's terrible.
What?
Oh, it was such a nice picture to just sort of have around.
I have to now get $300,000 for it. Wow. Of course, the best part is when it's a fake. That's what I love the most. Because they don't
do that as much as they used to.
But then when they do, they pay it off with now, if this were authentic, this would be at least $75,000. Or they won't even say that. An authentic piece will be $75,000, and sadly, yours was made in Chinatown. And it's worth $20.
They don't do that as much. They used to, years ago, they used to do that a lot more. Another show, they have a variation on the show, which I think is worth watching, although they don't label it in such a way that you never know it was on. It was the same show from 2006. And they play it's the same show. You get to watch a 2006 show.
Yeah.
And then the guy gives the estimated value is $3,000. And then they go 2016 price.
Yeah. That's how they revamp the old shows, which is good.
A genius.
Yeah, because you can just keep it rolling. Yeah.
Because then you get the new price. Ding, it goes up. And you can say, this is another game show. It's like you watch it and you go, I wonder if that's more valuable now than it was in 2000.
Yes. Yeah, it's meta. It's like you got two parts to win in. But this is an interesting format over here now, which it makes kind of sense that it would work. It's famous people doing a sit-down therapy session on TV.
They're actually doing one?
Yes. No. The show is in production. It's on TV.
And you've seen it?
I have not seen it, but I know that both Christina and Patricia are doing an episode. I don't think together. Maybe they are together. I don't know.
That'd be something.
Yes. Well, of course, they sent me an email. Hey, this would be great if we could have you sit with the therapist for an hour. So, are you insane? I'm not going to participate in that. But they paid bank.
Do they? What?
It's not my place to say, but trust me. I mean, they have good money.
So what do you think you would have gotten? You didn't ask.
Oh, I can tell you what they offered me.
Okay.
$20,000.
To sit down for one show?
Yeah. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. No way. I have a 3-hour session twice a week, and I actually make a little money. So no. I'm not gonna ruin my life for this. Is a dumb idea.
Probably.
It doesn't sound very smart.
No.
So
just
no,
thinking
thank
of
you.
the money.
No, thank you. Yeah, well, I'm not. I'm like, no way.
Yeah, apparently not. You've got the right idea.
Yes.
So I have a couple of clips from. It was an actual hit piece on the CIA on the EPA guy.
Is this Scott Pruitt? Is that his name?
Yeah, Pruitt. They're trying to get rid of him. Mm-hmm. It's like they're trying to get rid of anybody Trump picked early on. And Pruitt is really a what I've heard is he's, besides being a target of getting him fired because he doesn't believe in global warming and he thinks everything's bullshit.
Right.
Apparently, from some Washington insiders, he's like the most charming guy you'd ever want to meet. He just charm your socks off. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons he got the job in the first place, and a reason that they can't get rid of him so easily, because he's like apparently just this great guy that you want to go hang out with.
Wow.
So they're still going after him. So let's play the hit piece.
Let's turn now to the controversy swirling around another one of President Trump's cabinet members. EPA Chief Scott Pruitt is facing mounting ethics questions over his travel, his use of a condo linked to energy lobbyists, and hefty raises for his closest aides. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Hallie Jackson has the details.
Pruitt, who has confirmed.
The embattled EPA administrator today getting backup from his boss.
Do you support Scott Pruitt? I hope he's going to be great.
A potpourri of problematic headlines now putting Scott Pruitt on defense with questions about links to a lobbyist from whom he rented a cheap Capitol Hill condo, about raises for favored aides over the objections of the White House, about exploring a private jet lease to the tune of $100,000 a month.
Woo! Couple things. First of all, if I call up the Lamborghini dealer and say that I would like to see one.
If I were a government official, what would it cost me? You mean like that?
No, just like say I'd like to see a Lamborghini. What she said was he's exploring a $100,000 a month lease. Which means
she said exploring? She didn't say that he had it? He was just exploring that?
Yeah, back it up. This is a scandal.
Oh, my goodness. I missed that. Hold on. I want to hear that. Here we go.
Let's turn now to the controversy swirling around another one of President Trump's cabinet members. EPA Chief Scott Pruitt is facing mounting ethics questions over his travel, his use of a condo linked to energy lobbyists, and hefty raises for his closest aides. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Hallie Jackson has the details.
Pruitt, who has confirmed.
The embattled EPA administrator today getting backup from his boss.
Do you support Scott Pruitt?
Back up from his boss. Lots of alliteration there.
I hope he's going to be great.
A potpourri of problematic headlines.
A potpourri of problematic headlines? Really?
Now putting Scott Pruitt on defense with questions about links to a lobbyist from whom he rented a cheap Capitol Hill condo.
Stop right there. First of all, they're excoriating the guy for spending too much money. And so he goes and finds a cheap condo from some guy who happens to be a lobbyist.
No, his wife. His wife,
not even the guy. Who can give him a deal that's really cheap. And instead of praising the guy for saving money, no. It's corruption.
He's part of the swamp. Yeah, he's part of the swamp. Yeah.
So it's like he tries to save money. He's an asshole. He tries, and otherwise he spends too much money. I mean, make up your minds.
With questions about links to a lobbyist from whom he rented a cheap Capitol Hill condo, about raises for favored aides over the objections of the White House, about exploring a private jet lease to the tune of $100,000 a month.
Exploring a private jet lease. Well, you're right. That's horrible.
Yeah, it's totally horrible.
I like the.
I've gone into the Bentley dealer. I was in London recently, and I walked in there. Oh, look, hey, there's a Bentley. Let's check it out. And the man was checking out a Bentley up to the tune of $150,000 a car.
That's truly National Enquirer level.
It's very bad. That's Halle Berry. She's really a Trump hater that doesn't. She's dishonest when she reports that stuff.
They let her get away with it though.
Yeah, of course. All right, because it's NBC, the number one Trump haters right now.
Yes.
Play two.
About exploring a private jet lease to the tune of $100,000 a month. At least one Republican congressman wants Pruitt out.
He's acted arrogantly. He's embarrassing this administration, the EPA, and it's just time for him to go.
But two administration officials tell NBC News the president himself called Pruitt less than 24 hours ago, with one source saying he told his EPA chief keep fighting. We have your back. An agency spokesperson tells NBC Pruitt is focused on advancing President Trump's agenda. And under his leadership, the EPA is doing just what the president wanted.
One of the worst examples of federal regulation.
Pruitt rolling back regulations put in place in the Obama administration, like the Clean Water Rule, the Clean Power Plan, and tougher fuel standards announced today.
What an exciting day.
The administrator flanked by signs with the words jobs and certainty.
I love these signs, particularly the signs that say jobs.
A not so subtle message, maybe, from a top official going nowhere for now.
Oh, gosh. And she yells. This lady.
She's kind of a yeller. I think most of the NBC presentations are kind of yelling.
Yelly.
I have to look into the clean water thing they're talking about because I'm sure it's something stupid.
1972?
I don't think that's what. I don't believe what she says. There's a bunch of stuff that's set in stone. They're not going to change any of it. It's not. It's something else. It's like it has to do with the fish or, something. I'm sure it's some specific thing that would make sense to back off on.
Well, there is good news when it comes to climate change. As our grandchildren, your grandchild, what's his name again?
Theodorable.
Theodorable, yes. Yeah, what? I thought Harold for some reason. I knew it was something
Harold?
Haroldorable. Theodorable. He's going to be in a class of his own. He'll grow up to, not buy bull crap, of course. He's a Dvorak, so what do you expect? But also the climate changers, so I'm sure Theodorable will be a denier, right?
Well, don't forget by proxy, I have 3 other grandkids, Eric's children.
Ah, yes, of course. What am I saying? And how do you think they're doing?
One of them they're doing. It's interesting because the personality of these 3 is so different, and one of them is kind of a cynic. He's the closest thing to a classic Dvorak.
Dvorak, yeah.
And the other 2 are, I think, I don't know. They're kind of homeschooled, so they're probably not going to be caught up in the bull crap.
Okay, good. Well, according to this report from the BBC, people who believe that we as human beings are killing the planet and destroying it with our climate change are just going to stop making any more of them.
It started off just being, I just don't want to have children, and then I became aware that actually the best thing I can do for the environment is not to have any children. Now I would call myself an environmentalist, and I try and live in a way that is as sustainable as possible. So that's things like cycling everywhere, and I'm a vegan. I don't shower every day. I don't wash my hair every day. In fact, I only wash my hair about once a month.
Whoa!
Wow, she's from Berkeley.
Wait. There's a little bit more to this. Hold on. I want to hear that sequence again, what she doesn't do.
Live in a way that is as sustainable as possible.
That's sustainable. John, listen up. Let's listen.
Sustainable as possible.
As possible. So it could be even more.
So that's things like cycling everywhere, and I'm a vegan.
Cycling everywhere?
I don't shower every day. I don't wash my hair every day. In fact, I only wash my hair about once a month.
Once a month?
Can you tell?
Yeah, it stinks.
Inescapable that having kids in the first place creates a resource-consuming person. That's not me trying to sound like no one should have kids, but it's kind of a fact. If I fell pregnant, I would have an abortion.
So we don't have to worry, John. They're not going to procreate.
Yes, that's a plus.
Which is kind of self-defeating, because if you're like, what are we leaving for our children? Well, you're not going to have any. It's going to be my children, so don't worry about it.
Well, they're doing a good job of keeping the place clean for our children.
Yeah. But but they can't even say, they have no right to say anymore, but it's bad for the children. Well, no, you're not having any kids.
Does she have a big, giant nose?
I don't recall why.
Because she has the voice of a person with a big nose.
A little nasally? Yeah,
no, just I don't know how to describe it. Well, that was a good one.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the South Carolina is, I think, one of the first states to really wake up to the emotional support mammal scam. Because I'm sure there wasn't in the report, but I'm sure she has a dog or some other animal?
I had a dog in first class. I flew out first class. I'm not flying back first class, unfortunately.
Nice.
Because they couldn't get me a seat. But I flew out first class with a Japanese metallurgic engineer, and we were chatting about stuff, mostly components of jet engines.
Oh.
And I didn't notice it, but the guy in first class had one of these service dogs.
Now, was it a real service dog, or was he blind?
I think it must have been, because he seemed like a very calm dog, and he didn't bark. He didn't make any. I didn't know until the flight was over that this dog was even on board.
Right, but was the dog performing any services for him, like getting him Bloody Marys, or
No, that was stewardesses did that. I should say flight attendants.
So it must have been an emotional support dog then, not a service dog.
Well, it said service dog on the dog.
Yeah. That's part of the scam.
Lawmakers in South Carolina say more and more people are trying to pass their animals off as service dogs.
And the House is considering a bill that would make it illegal. It would make misrepresenting a service animal a misdemeanor. A first-time offense would draw a more than $300 fine, which would go up to $5,000 for a third offense. A group in South Carolina that trains service animals say faking is a disgrace to those who really need them.
People who simply go online and slap a jacket on a dog or get a fake license and represent their dog as a service dog, sometimes, and probably most times, don't realize what an injustice they're doing to the legitimate ones.
The bill's authors say using a fake service animal causes problems for businesses. North Carolina is among the states that have this law. Right now, the South Carolina bill is in the House Judiciary Committee.
Go South Carolina.
I think we did that in California already.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Or there's something pending, whether you have to have approval and you have to have a doctor or sign off, and there has to be an official dog that's trained by one of these operations, like the one in South Carolina.
Yeah, but it's still not a service dog.
Well, what is a service? Well, you mean a dog for the blind, a guide dog?
A service dog is literally a dog trained to perform certain services for a human being that the human being cannot do because of certain specified ailments.
Right.
But yes,
the confusion is with these emotional support dogs.
Yeah, that is not a service dog, and it does not have the same rights as a service dog.
Well, that's what they're going after, these emotional support dogs.
Exactly, and that's what I think you had on the
some
plane.
guy came in with an emotional support pony.
Yeah.
And there was a thing at SFO with the emotional support peacock.
Yeah, the peacock. Yep.
Yeah.
What I did want to ask you about regarding California, I don't know if this is a big deal or not, but it came in as breaking. Since when did breaking news just become breaking?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
It's I don't know if I like it.
Breaking. It just says breaking.
Because breaking news is one thing, but breaking is like, oh wow.
Well, it's just like you're a brev.
Yeah, you're right. It's an abbrev. Breaking.
Or whatever.
Referendum to split California into 3 states will be on the ballot.
3 states is the right number.
But it's going to be on the ballot?
The problem is, I think so. Well, they're trying to get it on the ballot. The problem is they're going to split it wrong. I know exactly how to split it into 3 states. I've written about it.
Oh.
And it has to be horizontal, so everybody gets ports. What they'd like to do is have one state be just the border, which has all the wealth and ports. And then they'd have the middle, and they got all kinds of different ways of dividing it up.
Well, but let me tell you what they have. So the 3 and you can find it at 3stateca.com. Excuse me, NorCal.
Is it spelled 3 or 3? 3 or 3?
3 THRE. So you have NorCal, Cal, and SoCal.
Yeah, that's the way I had it. That's the way I proposed it 7 years ago. 3stateswhat.com?
3stateca.com. It's kind of a bad domain name.
You think?
Yeah.
The site can't be reached. 3state.ca.
No, 3stateca.com.
3 states.
No, 3stateca.com. THREESTATECA.com. Tango, Hotel Romeo, Echo, Sierra, Tango, Alpha, Tango, Echo, Charlie, Alpha.
Yeah, okay, I got it. I'm there. NorCal, SoCal. This is exactly what I don't like.
I didn't think it was what you were talking about.
No, what I've got is...
well, tell them what they've got here, because you understand these maps. I look at them, it's like, I don't know.
Okay, they have a NorCal, which is everything north of Gilroy, or maybe a little further south, and then it's that whole thing's one state, and that includes the entire San Francisco Bay Area and probably a third of Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And then there's SoCal, which is Bakersfield, and most of the state, all the arid areas, but it swings over to include San Diego. And then Cal is bullshit. This is it looks like a big dildo with
it does.
It's a dildo on the side of the state that has all the ports from it looks like Monterey all the way down to Long Beach.
That's where you want to be.
Yeah, it's because you got all the money will be there going through there, yeah. And it includes Los Angeles. It looks like this is bullcrap. It's not the way to do it. It's not sharing the state.
Right.
For one thing,
right, but you can see that it's just political because what they've done is that look how many people there are. They're trying to make it an equal amount of people.
No, I think what they're trying to there's an element of that, but I think what they're really trying to do here is make it so you have 2 of the 3 states Democrat, and 1 of the states Republican. So that way you end up with 4 Democrat senators instead of 2, and just 2 Republican senators. This is obviously you can see that it's red state, blue state stuff.
Yeah. So why don't they just call it Ukraine, Poland, and Romania and be done with it? That would be perfect.
Yeah, might as well.
But in all seriousness, if this is going to be on the ballot, that means it's being taken seriously. They claim they have enough votes already to get it on the ballot. Do you think Californians are into this?
I don't think Californians know what they're doing.
But that's not my question. I mean, can people be convinced?
Not with the way this is drawn up. This is not convincing to me. It's not. It's just not right. It's no good.
Well, this is your beat now.
Actually, the Southern Californian Cal, as they call it, Cal, is really closer to being the same place. What you really want to cut it off is what you want to do is take out the Bay Area to Sacramento and down through San Jose and make that's California. Which includes the gold rush country and all that stuff. Then you take the Jefferson, which is the state, they call themselves Jefferson already, which is Northern California above Ukiah, or actually above, just south of Redding and all the way to the border. And then south of San Jose, you make that Southern California, and that's the whole shebang down there. And it is what it is.
Well, I don't think there's a competing group with any other ideas than this one. I think these are the guys.
Yeah, well, I've seen this before. It's not gonna fly. It's just too transparently a scam.
But you see the scams that are being perpetrated on people, and that seems to work. So why wouldn't this work? They just need a little. They need a little heat, a little fire. They need a little meme going on.
There's gonna be one large corporation that's gonna look at this and say, "Yeah, this isn't working for us," and they're gonna put $10 total into the anti-campaign, and it'll go their way.
Okay. You know how you've been talking about antibiotics no longer working on people?
Yeah, this is a big story everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, but you brought it. You were the first one that brought it to my attention. And what's the reason again? Because of overuse or just the bad
overuse and misuse. People sometimes they don't take all the antibiotics they're supposed to, leaving a couple of semi-resistant bugs in them, and those things grow to be totally resistant, and then giving them to chickens and making people take antibiotics for acne and all kinds of viruses and colds and stuff. It's just, we've screwed the pooch on this deal.
Well, a friend of mine who lives here, you know him, but I don't want to mention his name because I don't know if he wants it to be known. He has lung issues, and he had bacterial infections on his lung, and that took out half his lung a while ago. And, so he still has, I guess, maybe some mold on his lung. Does that sound possible? Doesn't sound great.
Yeah. There's actually you can get valley fever in California from the winds that sometimes go from east to west, and if they come up from the San Fernando Valley or the San the San Fernando Valley, not the San Fernando, the San Joaquin and Sacramento valleys.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of dust down there, especially south, because they've cut off the water supplies to the farmers. This was all dusty. It's like a dust bowl, and it's a bunch of, there's some fungus in there that gets in your lungs.
Antibacterials don't work?
No, it's a fungus anyway.
Right.
Molds and fungus don't respond to that.
So my friend is getting this, he's getting treatment, something called bacteriophages treatment. Have you ever heard of this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're a big deal.
It's illegal in the EU. So he's in Georgia right now.
It's almost illegal here. This is a scandal. If you know it, there's a couple of phage guys that came out of Evergreen. That's why I know anything about it. That are very famous, and they've all had to move their research out of the country because the big drug pharma companies don't want anything to do with these guys.
Exactly. This has been outlawed in the EU, and even Taxi Eric had heard about it, so I guess it was a big conversation at some point. I mean, why else would he know about it? So my buddy's in Georgia, and they have a clinic in Georgia. Poland also has a couple of clinics, but I'm not quite sure how they're doing that legally, with the EU and all that. But yeah, so you guys spit in a cup, and what they're actually doing, they're now checking at airports to make sure you're not, carrying anyone's samples. You have to actually go there now to Georgia and give them your samples. You used to be able to, maybe it was you could send them through the mail or
why?
They won't allow it.
Yeah, but what's the rationale?
Because they don't want people to do it. That's the rationale.
Well, it's very well known. It was a well-known methodology. Apparently some years and years and years ago, and then it fell into disrepute for some reason.
Do you know how it works?
Do you know how it works? Yeah, it's essentially a little bug that finds the bad bacteria, and just sucks it dry.
Yeah, but they match it.
It's a parasite.
Yeah, but they match it. They match it to whatever bacteria you got going on, and that's why they need a culture or something. They need some of your DNA, whatever it is, and then they match that. It takes about 10 days or 2 weeks, and then they treat you. And I think it's oral. I mean, it's not painful or anything. It's not like you're being no blood transfusion. And
I don't know if they need your DNA. I think they just need a sample of whatever it is you have. It's not a DNA.
No, it's not a DNA
technology.
thing. You're right. No, it's just whatever. I guess your saliva will contain something.
I don't know.
And they give you
I don't know how it works.
They give you a stomach.
All I know is it's a big deal. And it's supposed to be the future of of bacteria killers. It's like a
we should
hired gun.
We should find out about these companies and
invest.
Buy some calls. Day traders, yeah. Invest. I was blown away. I put a couple links in the show notes, nashownotes.com, if you're interested, and take a look under Big Pharma. Because, clearly, this is another one of those, and it only costs 3,000 euros. I mean, so let's just say $3,500. $3,500, you can't even spend 2 hours in the hospital, let alone, go to a clinic for 2 weeks. I mean, obviously, you have to pay separately for wherever you're staying, but, it's outpatient. So it's affordable.
They'll probably make a comeback here after somebody who runs a big pharma company or his wife dies of some horrible disease because of that.
Oh, then they'll change it. Yeah, they'll get it.
That's how it works.
They'll get some religion.
Yes.
All right.
Well, this is a clip that might be. What's this clip? Yeah, this is an archive clip that I ran into. This is another situation that the big pharma guys don't like, and you can stop this whenever you want. It's just a kind of interesting. This is the cannabis and cancer clip.
Prue says she has proof.
The impact of taking cannabis oil was the fact that the cancer's gone. All the tumors are gone. They dissipated in my body with no evidence of metastatic disease. They're just gone.
Stephanie's doctor confirmed to the BBC the tumours had gone, despite her opting out of conventional medicine, but stopped short of endorsing cannabis oil.
The cannabis works. No chemo. I only did cannabis, and the tumors are gone. And the scans I have as evidence and proof of that. Kind of like, what more do you need?
And she also sounds really happy.
Doesn't she sound stoned? She sounds like that. I wish I had the clip handy. We do have it somewhere where it's Ellen, whatever her name is, with the Macintosh computer, and the dog ate the the Computerator paper. Remember that? A very famous advertisement for the Macintosh that was this girl was just completely blitzed.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember this commercial?
No.
Ellen Feiss, I think if you look up Ellen Feiss.
Feiss?
Yeah, I think so.
No, I
commercial. You'll find it and you can play. Oh, you probably don't have it. No, I'm not there. I'm just saying you play it online.
Yeah. No, I can't. That's not easy for me to do right now.
Okay. Well, I'll dig it up and we can play it because it's you've heard it. You just don't remember it.
Is this was this from the BBC? Some earth-shattering report where they? Oh my gosh! It turns out it works against cancer. Is that what this is?
Yeah, pretty much.
A lot more, according to one of the world's leading oncologists.
This is chemotherapy. So these are natural products,
The man who helped cure Lance Armstrong's cancer needs data and real scientific evidence.
Until somebody proves it, whether it be the manufacturers who put together a clinical trial, whether it be doctors who get government funding to do it, or patients who say, here are my records, and let's put it in a medical journal and be transparent with what I had, what I was treated with, and what my outcome was, then until that, it's snake oil. Again, I'm not trying to impede progress or say it's bad, but at the same time, I don't want people to get false hope.
So, cannabis, snake oil, can this plant cure some forms of cancer? What is the evidence? There have been hundreds of scientific papers published. This study came out of the University of East Anglia last year.
Why is it? I'm sorry, when I hear it in a different language, it really becomes apparent. Why do we accept this kind of reporting the whole time in your face? Why do we accept people talking like this to us?
That mice with cancer had their tumours reduced using cannabis. This, the first human clinical trial. 8 out of 9 patients responded, but they all died within the time you'd expect. Despite that, there's a long list of charities and research groups that say it's an interesting development. It may have a clinical use. And now the big pharmaceutical companies are getting involved. This huge cannabis garden is in Britain. GW Pharmaceuticals is developing drugs from the cannabis plant. The latest human trial is a cannabis oil to treat brain cancer.
We understand how some of these molecules work. We have the preclinical evidence, and the regulators have given us permission, therefore, to expose humans in a clinical trial setting at this point in time.
But for now, it's an underground industry. A bloke in a backyard with a stick, a bucket, and a jar of solvent.
A bloke in the backyard.
Stick in a bucket.
A bloke in the backyard. Oh, is that got a bloke in my backyard?
What they don't mention in this whole report is that it is almost incredibly illegal to do any of these tests they're talking about in the United States.
Yes.
They refuse to take it off of the schedule. They refuse to let people research with it. I mean, it has to be done. It's been done mostly in Israel is where most of the research takes place. And people always talk about, oh, it just needs more research. You can't do the research.
So we have the British report where they conclude that this is all done underground by a bloke in the backyard. The American report would be, it's all done by a dude in a dark alley.
Yeah, something similar, for sure.
The latest human trial is a cannabis oil to treat brain cancer.
We understand how some of these molecules work. We have the preclinical evidence, and the regulators have given us permission, therefore, to expose humans in a clinical trial setting at this point in time.
But for now, it's an underground industry. A bloke in a backyard with a stick, a bucket, and a jar of solvent who's making the cannabis oil. He wanted to be known only as Cell, not because the cannabis is illegal in California, but because of the flammable materials he's using.
We then pour the liquid into the pan.
So this is the finished product?
Yes, that's the finished product. There's about 1 gram of oil in there.
And do you think this is a cure for cancer?
In many instances it is, and it can be. It depends on the person's particular condition or their state, how advanced the cancer is, but we've seen thousands and thousands of people get better from using this oil.
I squeeze out a very little amount, and then I just and swallow it.
But to be effective, Sarah needs to take a lot more than this. And eating a gram a day is too much for many people.
Oh, wow.
When you ingest it, you get 20% of the medication, the properties that actually attack the cancer. When you do it rectally, you get 70%.
Woo!
So you're actually getting more benefit from doing it that way.
And you don't get high.
And you don't get high.
Oh.
And not only
she doesn't get high. She's high now.
There's no side effects.
It is her only hope.
Having a
But it's
sore
also
butt.
unproven medicine.
I'll continue doing it until the cancer's gone. I believe it's the best option. I've seen it work for others.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm hoping it'll work for me.
And that's all for this week from all of us at Newsnight.
Yeah. You know, this used to be a very common practice in the Netherlands, and now that I think about it, it's because my mom went through lung cancer, and I was part of that process. It used to be you'd have this kind of story. I'm talking in the 70s. People, and they would actually get their cannabis subsidized, and it would be for the cancer fighting properties, and of course, it was always it's good for people to smoke this when you're on chemo.
Right.
You can still control your appetite and less nausea, etc. But I think that they've always been kind of hitchhiking on the back of cannabis. We're saying, see, our chemotherapy worked, and you just smoke some weed to not be nauseous. But maybe it's the other. Maybe it's really the cannabis that was doing the work. But they don't even talk about that anymore. That's not even an option. It just kind of went away. Like the coffee shops are going away. It's all being harmonized. Hey, thanks to Jenwich from the Troll Room. He got me the Ellen Feist Apple commercial. Here we go.
I was writing paper on the PC, and it was like, bleep, 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 bleep.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And then, like, half of my paper was gone. And I was like, It devoured my paper. It was really good paper. And then I had to write it again, and I had to do it fast, so it wasn't as good. It's kind of a bummer. I'm Ellen Feist, and I'm a student.
Yeah, I do remember it. You're right.
Of course you do.
That was a great campaign. I think it worked really well.
Yes, I think so too. They haven't had anything like it since. It's been as good. I mean, the second best was with the PC and the Mac guys arguing with each other, and then now it's just been schlock.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
And we do have some people to thank for show 1025. Let's start with a name from the past.
No.
It's Baronet Sir Kevin Strange is from the past.
From the past donation.
Past donations.
Yeah, good work.
It came in with $168.22 from Norwich, Norfolk, Great Britain.
It's a pair of balls donation.
Yeah,
I see it. 8411 is ball. 8 is B, 4 is A. The ones are L's. Twice that is a pair of balls donation. I like it.
We should put that on our regular list.
Yeah. Please.
I'm wondering.
Wait. They says, please send me some vasectomy healing karma, to ensure I don't start looking like a lesbian. Have you learned nothing from this show, man? What woman has this power over you? I'm going to give him
I think you should cut your nuts off. Can you do that for me?
I'm going to give him some karma, quick.
You've got karma.
Poor guy. Hey, honey. Look, John, stop spreading fake news. A vasectomy does not involve cutting your nuts off because, then I'm going to have to listen to Brian Brushwood complain to me for another 5 years. John doesn't know what it is. Yeah, we do, Brian. We just look in the mirror, bro. we know you got a vasectomy. Please tell all the newcomers your theory.
Okay, I'm funny you ask. I discovered a book in the 1920s that I still have a copy of, and it's a talk about certain medical procedures. And vasectomies are not new. and they were used in the 20s as a youth fix. It would make you, the vasectomy was, men were told, get a vasectomy and you'll look younger, because it changed. I don't know why technically you can't see any reason why it would do that, but apparently it does. And what it does is make your face a little more pasty. It does certain things to you. It changes your biology a little bit. But this was this was like a fountain of youth fad. It's like the another one that came along some years later was the lobotomy.
Yeah.
There was actually a faddish thing, and there was apparently some guy in Central Park that would give you can get lobotomies without having to really go into the doctor's office, because a person who knew what they were doing could slip a needle.
Wait a minute, how long ago was this?
This is in the 30s.
Oh, it was fashionable? Like, I think I'm going to have a lobotomy.
Yes. And you could slip a needle, because you were hysterical, you were depressed all the time. There's a million reasons to have it done. They would slip a needle behind your eyeball, and the thing was, I guess it was curved a certain way, they could actually nick and cut off the little piece of the brain that hooks the front to the back. Yeah. So they do this. They could do this. Apparently, this was being done in Central Park. People were lined up for this.
Wait, is this where the expression comes from? I need that, like I need a hole in the head? No?
I don't know.
Or another hole in the head. It's people going back.
So but the vasectomy as a youth thing to make you look more youthful and give you more energy. And they probably had a song and dance about it. Was popular. It was in this book, and that's where I first saw it. And the first thing I noticed that the guys that showed the before and after pictures, a whole bunch of men.
Really?
Yeah, before the vasectomy, and then like a year later, and they all had softened. Their features had softened, and they did look a little younger. There's no doubt about it. But they also looked a little more feminine, and since this was done to, I don't know, middle-aged guys, I'm not sure what the ages were, but I started noticing this with men who had had vasectomies, and I will say this, not all of them, but most of them start to look a little bit like an old lesbian. And so
as if there's a uniform lesbian look.
There is, I think. Well, and at least I think that there's a uniform lesbian look.
I just think it's the Chris Hayes look. That's pretty much it.
A little bit. I think that, remember Gene McCarthy, the former head of the EPA?
Sure.
That's the look I'm talking about.
Whoa. Man, now it's getting real.
So I mentioned this to Brushwood, and he was, his wife made him get a vasectomy.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Maybe
no. I know her well. Oh yeah. We know who the boss is there.
Okay. Well, she said, "Why don't you either get a vasectomy or cut your nuts off or something? I'm sick of it."
I'm sick of you, Brushwood.
And, he's been very irked about this, I think, because
yeah,
he looks like a lesbian a little bit already. So.
Tina and I really like them. We're supposed to hang out again soon, and that may not happen now after episode 1025.
I can assure you. Well, although he probably has a mole that listens to the show that will tell him, because he doesn't listen to the show.
He's too busy.
Yeah, he's too busy. Yeah, he's pumping iron.
He's pumping iron to kick our ass.
Anyway, onward with the donations.
Yes. Good luck there, Baronet Sir Kevin Strange. Or should I say, Baronet Sir Kevin Strange?
Okay.
I was mean.
I won't go with that joke.
I couldn't help myself.
Kurt Kubel in $99.99 from Parts Unknown. Birthday donation. His birthday's on tax day. That's funny.
Yeah.
Love the Monica Clinton versus Stormy /Trump comparison a few letters back. Keep on keeping on. I'm not sure.
We just had another one of those today.
Right. We talked about, because she's kept a dress.
Yep.
Christopher Dechter, 5678, Parts Unknown. Sir Pinder Net, double nickels on the dime, 5510, and he's a new knight. Is he going to be knighted today?
I can't check. Tell. Let me see. No.
Well, maybe he's already been knighted.
Let me see what he says. Oh, as a new knight. Yeah, no, Pindernet. Yeah, we did him. We did him recently. Yes. Okay. I recall now. Sure.
Greg Dial, double nickels on the dime. John Tennis, He is getting ignited today. 5125 West Lynn, Oregon. I'll read a little of this. First became aware of the No Agenda show and is promoted on Cranky Geeks. That's when I was at Mevio doing Cranky Geeks.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah, obviously, because I wasn't doing Cranky Geeks, when I wasn't at Mevio. I listened for a month and decided it was indeed the best podcast in the universe. Not wanting to be a douchebag, I knew that I had to help produce the show. I started with $5 a month, and he went on. And he wants to be Sir J.T. Barrington, Knight of the Black Telecaster.
Yes,
so
he's in. He's in and on the
plays
list.
Guitar. Mm-hmm. All right, these are $50 donors. Name and location: Mayor Kleinwachs, Trevor Hoagland in Portland, Oregon, Keith Yarborough in Austin.
Hey, Keith.
Matthew Hart. Sorry,
I said, hey, Keith.
Matthew Hardy in the Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia. I'm in the Gulf Coast. Sir Chris Slewinski in Sherwood Park. Brandon Savoy, Sir Brandon Savoy in Miami, Florida. Or he's in Port Orchard, Washington. Sorry. It's Dame Patricia Worthington. She's in Miami, Florida. Robert Weber in San Jose, California. And last in this very short list, John Haller in Missoula, Montana. I want to thank all these folks for helping us do show 1025.
Yes, and thank everyone who came in under $50 for anonymity reasons, or maybe you're on one of the multiple subscriptions, which eventually do become Knight and Dame hoods. That's a fact. And for those of you who got some money back from your municipality and or government, think of us, please, for our next show. That'll be on Thursday, Dvorak.org/NA. We can use all the help we can get. And please note that we are really pulling out all the stops to bring you this show today from multiple locations around the world. No matter what comes across our path, we still are able to do the show. There we go. Go.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Here's your list for today. Kurt Coble celebrates today on tax day, or 2 days before tax day. Happy birthday. John Tennis turned 60 on April 18th. And a belated birthday to Ellen Snyder, one of the keeper's beautiful daughters. She turned 22 on February 13th. Happy birthday from all your buddies here and Uncle John and Adam at the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah.
And we have 2 knightings. So I'd like to get them up on stage here.
I front the little one.
Oh. Well, hold it up close to the mic then. Now pull it out. Yeah, very good.
There you go, yeah. I pulled it out for you.
Thank you. Armis Selmas, John Tennis, gentlemen, hop up here on the podium next to the lectern, and right over there you see at the round table of the No Agenda Knights and our Dames, and you are about to join their company thanks to your support of the best podcast in the universe, the amount of $1,000 or more. And I hereby pronounce-icate thee, Sir Selmans and Sir J.T. Barrington, Knight of the Black Telecaster. For you, gentlemen, we have Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay, Dr. Pepper and a Quick Handy, Boobs and Stinky Tofu, Cold Brew and Cannabis, Bourbon and Bong Ribs, Trophies and Tires, Smoke, Onion Rings and Ice Cream, English Muffins with Butter and Honey, Captain Morgan's and Women with Questionable Reputation, and, of course, the effervescent Mutton and Mead, which you can go pick up there from Eric the Shill by going to noagendanation.com/rings, and he will, you give him your size, of course, and he'll gladly hook you up. And thank you again for your support. Thank you for showing the value you receive from our show. Thanks for being a producer. I mean, we have great producers. I mean, again, we just say, oh, we need this. It would be great if we can get that commercial, that Apple commercial, and then within 6, not even 4 minutes, it's on MP3 on the mail.
Well, I hope to see a few of them. We're having a meetup tonight.
Oh, do tell.
At what's the name of the place?
Knuckleheads.
Knuckleheads in Orchard Springs.
Is it?
Is it Ocean Springs?
Is it a comedy place?
Ocean Springs. Is it no? It's a beer house.
Oh.
Cool. It should be. It sounds exactly like a comedy place.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yucks. I mean, it's a comedy place.
Knuckleheads. Yeah. Although it could be a biker bar too.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to be. So not in that town. So I just thought I'd mention that to anyone. We'll probably get about, I don't know how many people are going to show up. It should be a few. We have about 60 people in the area.
I was going to say, did you send out a special bulletin, an APB? Yeah.
You can separate out. What you do is you pick a town, and then you can tell MailChimp to go 200 miles out.
Oh, man. You're a little Cambridge Analytica, aren't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
I had where was that clip? I had a clip about, yes, here we go. Heather again, back with Matt. And when I was watching this, and it's become watchable because of the Heather and Matt dynamics. And, she's interesting. She's trying to be funny. And she also has an element of ditziness, which is, kind of cool because then we can laugh about her. And she hasn't really been struggling yet. But do you recall there was a clip about an ambassador, and I think it was either Kenya, maybe Uganda. Which one? And he had this, was like global engagement center inside the embassy, and they were teaching people how to figure out what fake news is.
I've lost track of this. I've completely forgotten about this.
Well, it turns out, and now this is quite a while ago, and then when I went looking for it, even crazier, I found in the 900 range of episodes, like 950s, I found 2 dynamite clips about, them basically predicting this, that they were, not predicting, but just saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. And this is, I think, maybe before, let me see. What episode would have been before the whole fake news thing really blew up during the campaign? Would that have been in the 950s? It'd be about a year and a half ago, wouldn't it?
I think around September of 16, when it really got hot.
Let me see. Maybe I can, if I look at the show notes, let me see. If we look at 16 December, that was the 890s, so it would have been 17.
Yeah, maybe the 850s. It was two years ago at least.
Yeah, it was a while ago. Anyway, so it turns out that not only is this a real thing, which I think, and I didn't pull those clips, but it was Heather and Matt was like, what is this thing? She says, if there's anything more, I'll look into it. I'll see if there's anything more. Well, she came back, and boy, does she have more, because there was apparently a grant for this stuff, and it's not about, as far as I can tell from these clips, it's not about teaching people how to separate real news from fake news, but how to create it.
Do you believe you're more responsible with millions of Americans' personal data than the federal government would be?
Oh, well, hold on a second. That's the wrong clip. What am I doing? Sorry, here we go.
Okay, so let's get started. Next, I know many of you are interested in the Global Engagement Center, so I wanted to bring you an update on that. I'm pleased to offer an update on the Global Engagement Center, specifically on a funding opportunity. That
was kind of cool. What happened there is she said she was ad-libbing, I want to provide you an update, and then she switched over to her paper, and she basically said the same thing again, reading from the paper. Did you hear that?
Yeah, no, play it again.
Started. Next, I know many of you are interested in the Global Engagement Center, so I wanted to bring you an update on that. I'm pleased to offer an update on the Global Engagement Center, specifically on
She went right to the paper. Oh, I'm saying the same thing.
She noticed it.
Funding opportunity that we launched several weeks ago to solicit proposals to counter state-sponsored disinformation. This program is called the Information Access Fund. The notice of funding opportunity closed on Wednesday night, and we received approximately 150 proposals from around the world. The response shows the active interest that civil society groups have to play a role in countering foreign disinformation. The GEC will now begin its review of the proposals for technical merit. We intend to move quickly to support the top proposals after the anticipated transfer of funds from the Department of Defense is completed. For organizations that missed the deadline but are interested in working with the GEC, they have another opportunity to apply for funding opportunities posted on grants.gov, and that doesn't close until April the 23rd. So we'll keep you posted with any updates on that.
Now, so this is the Global Engagement Center, which is now funded by the Department of Defense, which was just some ambassador in some African country was kind of toying around with. But thanks to probably Matt pressuring, saying, hey, I want an update on this. What is it? Now we're finding out that this is quite an operation, and it's not just to help people learn in the information center there near the embassy, help people learn how to oh, that's fake news. I can detect it now. No, it's how to stop nations from spreading fake news. This is a cyber force that they are now bidding out to, well, let's see.
Okay. Secondly, on the GEC proposals, these are 150 different companies or?
Various proposals, 150 proposals from countries around the world.
From countries?
Well,
or
not
companies?
from governments themselves, but from individuals, NGOs, things of that nature.
And, okay, so like, I don't want
So someone may have an idea, an organization somewhere in the world may have an idea about how we can best handle or best combat state-sponsored disinformation. And so they will submit their proposals, and we'll take a look at them and find the ones that have the best merit and look at engaging with
You don't
those.
happen to know if, like, Cambridge Analytica is one of the...
I'm not aware of that, no.
Okay, and then last one, on Sullivan's meetings.
So, I went looking for this grant. Because there's a place to search for
it now.
Yeah, and you got the full term there. It's the Global Engagement Center. That's what I think I found something on. But even better, I found an older clip. This is the one I was talking about. In the 900s, early 900s, from the Defense One Summit. And it's labeled as Lumpkin, Lumpkinn. I have no idea who that is in this context. But he's going to tell us about the Global Engagement Center. So this is more than a year and a half ago, before this kind of went under the radar, and then it popped up with someone asking a question about it.
An example is we've seen almost a 400% increase in funding towards this effort over the past 2 years. So we've seen a fourfold increase.
From who?
From the U.S. government.
Yeah.
We're putting against the counter-messaging problems.
Okay.
And I think that is we're now getting the resources to actually effectively operate in this space. And we're using those resources to bring in talent from the private sector. Yeah. We're using it to bring in cutting-edge technology that lets us look at data the way we need to look at data. We're building the tools, the software, the people, and we're building a network of partners, because we do have a networked approach, because we recognize that while we may have a really, really good message, we're not always the most credible messenger to deliver it.
Right.
So and I think that's the key is in order to do this effectively, and part of this building a network is to actually train our partners and to help them understand the most effective ways to message.
So they're building a propaganda team. Did you find it? Did you find any of the grants?
No, I'm looking. I've seen all kinds of different things that are kind of interesting. Like there's a fiscal year 2018 Global Media Makers, which is a grant for something.
Yeah, I have a feeling that it may be broken up into multiple little parts. We're going to need some help on this.
Global competencies.
And I put a link in the show notes under Facebag Analytica, I think. Is that where I put it? No. I'll find out where it is.
This is like it's a nightmare. There's so much money they're throwing around.
But wait, there's more.
As we work the data piece, and it gives us the ability, instead of just throwing a message out and hope it lands, we can actually, I call that kind of meat cleaver messaging, is you throw it out there and hopefully it hits the right audience. And so we have the ability, and I'll use an example of something we've started this year, and this is using Facebook ads. I can go within Facebook. I can go grab an audience. I'll give a hypothetical. I can pick country X. I need age group 13 to 34. I need people who've liked, whether it's Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi or any other set.
Wait a minute. You can like Abu al-Baghdadi on Facebook? What's his page? I want to like his page.
Audience.
I bet you can.
I'll give a hypothetical. I can pick country X. I need age group 13 to 34. I need people who've liked, whether it's Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi or any other set, and I can shoot and hit them directly with messages. In some places in the world, it's literally pennies a click to do. So you have the ability to actually manage and identify and see your audience based on their social media preferences. Right. That said, we do have challenges in working with big data. Some of our challenges are we have the 1974 Privacy Act, for example, was created to make sure that we're not influencing, collecting data on U.S. citizens. Well, with IP addresses, and by definition, the World Wide Web is.
This is the guy who talked about IPS addresses. This is that jamoke.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, and that's how long ago this is.
The 1974.
This has been going on. It's probably just constantly going on.
But listen, they've been doing this with their little cyber force of propagandists on FaceBag. Now that we have no more Smith-Mundt Act, which would make all of this illegal, they've gone rampant.
The Act, for example, was created.
And listen what they're rogue. And listen what they're using. They're using exactly what FaceBag is now in court.
What we should be using to promote the show.
Yeah.
To make sure that we're not influencing, collecting data on U.S. citizens. Well, with IP addresses, and by definition, the World Wide Web is worldwide. Right. There is no passport that goes with it that says that this is an American citizen on the other end, and it doesn't matter if it's an example, a Tunisian in the United States, a Tunisian citizen in the United States, or an American citizen in Tunisia. I don't have the ability to discern that. Right. So therefore, I have trouble working big data and to grab that personally identifiable information and slice it and dice it. And this is why the Facebook ads that I mentioned are a kind of a fundamental change for us for very low investment to be highly targeted towards the enemy.
Oh, I love this. And to think that we had this clip that long ago, and here it is, completely relevant. And I didn't find, of course not. We have just the best producers. We have the missing Zucky clip. Listen closely.
Do you believe you're more responsible with millions of Americans' personal data than the federal government would be?
Yes. But, Senator, your point about surveillance, I think that there's a very important distinction to draw here, which is that when organizations do surveillance, people don't have control over that. But on Facebook, everything that you share there, you have control over. You can say, I don't want this information to be there. You have full access to understand every piece of information that Facebook might know about you, and you can get rid of all of it. And I don't know of any other any surveillance organization in the world that operates that way, which is why I think that comparison just isn't really apt here.
I don't know of any other. Wow. I think I should probably play that last bit again so people can hear it. As he clearly says, I don't know of any other surveillance organization.
Us. And you can get rid of all of it. And I don't know of any other any surveillance organization in the world that operates that way, which is
Busted. I got a nice note from one of our producers who I'm leaving anonymous. But he says, along with all the other random info I've sent, I'm working on a master's in AI machine learning. Please don't hate me. The industry pay is $350,000 a year starters. Okay, we like AI. What Facebook, Twitter, etc. are using to identify hate speech. We've been talking about this. Here we go. This is someone who's doing a master's in the field. No slouch. What they're doing what they're using to identify hate speech, along with everything else they've identified that you're interested in, is called a classifier. The, quote, researchers feed it positive example tweets, Facebook posts, etc. of hate speech or of unallowed or unlawful content, along with negative examples. And the AI, which is nothing more than a multidimensional linear regression, outputs a binary, quote, yep, hate speech, or quote, Democrat, for each feature you're trying to classify someone as. Concretely, you like certain things on Facebook, it spits out a probability that you're a cat lover. Above a certain threshold, it's a positive. So the term, of course, the key term is nothing more than multidimensional linear regression. Do you know what that means? Because it seems like he's poo-pooing it.
Well, the way he puts it, yeah. So I have no idea what multidimensional.
To me, it sounds just like piping a whole bunch of greps together. It's like Grep Democrat, Grep Pipe, Grep Cat.
I wonder how many people that Grep Cat. I like that.
Grep Cat.
I'm a Grep Cat.
I'm a Grep Cat, that Grep shit, Cat. Baby.
I play the saxophone.
I also like meat cleaver messaging.
Meat cleaver messaging.
I've never heard that term.
What does it mean?
Well, that's when you just throw in, like on TV, you just throw it out and, pray for the best.
Oh, yeah. Mass market.
Yeah, mass marketing. Exactly.
It's the only way you can get that many people.
Yes.
Tried and true. That's how you sell soap. Everybody has to buy soap.
Eventually.
Well, the only thing I got this Facebook clip, which is they're going to require an ID. Now, by the way, I don't believe a word of this.
I think we talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Let me hear the clip.
Back in this country, Facebook has announced that people who run issue ads on the site will now have to confirm their identity and location. CEO Mark Zuckerberg also endorsed legislation to make social media identify those who place ads for political candidates. Zuckerberg is set to testify before Congress next week about recent disclosures of massive privacy breaches.
Mm-hmm. Okay, from the troll room. Multidimensional linear regression equals just trying a bunch of stuff. Could be true.
That would be right. That sounds right.
That sounds right to me, too. I was going to try a bunch of stuff and then grep it out. Oh, man. Another anonymous note. This is... Well, I'll just read it to you. Please keep me anonymous to protect my brother's identity. I was on the phone with my brother this morning, and he was telling me that there will be a, quote, white supremacist rally in his town of Noonan, Georgia next weekend, and that the Valdosta, Georgia chapter of Antifa, we haven't heard from them in a while, is planning to show up to protest the event. He is worried that the event will turn the town into the next Charlottesville, and based on the anticipated police presence of nearly 24 agencies, it looks like law enforcement thinks so too. And there's a couple articles there about, and if you just do a bing it on Noonan, that's with N's, as in November, Noonan, Georgia rally should turn up more. So that's, I think that's happening, was it Thursday? No, next weekend. So I guess in a week from now.
No, that's the show day.
It's about time, though, that they that Antifa did something because, and quite frankly, I think the news cycle is primed for it because there's only so much storming we can do.
It could be. 24 agencies prepared for neo-Nazi rally. Oh, please. Okay.
That's how they frame it right away.
Yeah.
Now, have you been looking at any of this Comey stuff? Sorry.
I'm just saying that's the local TV station.
No, okay. Well, so could be some poop happening. We'll see if they're funded or not.
They have a picture of a guy. It's a great picture. Let's see if it shows up when I blow it up. No, of course not. Google has this tendency to tease pictures that aren't really in the article. I should go back to Bing. I don't have Bing on this one. Anyway, go on. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to transition into Comey for a moment.
Yeah, no, I've been following a little bit. He's got a book. He's a book tour. There's a book. He just came out with a book, so that you're going to see hear about Comey a lot. Mm-hmm. But it's like his apology tour.
Well, I have a couple of clips. The first one is from Chris Wallace on Fox News. And, I mean, is this book even out yet? Because it seems like it better be coming out soon because all I can see is a lot of heat.
With Amazon nowadays, people like to do the pre-book thing before the real reviews come out.
Yeah, the pre-order.
Yeah, you pre-order it.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Okay. Well, here he is talking about it.
Meanwhile, everybody talking about James Comey's book in Washington this morning?
I have to say, I haven't seen a copy of it. I may be the only person in America who hasn't. The New York Times has it on the front page, and the Washington Post has it. And what strikes me is how little new there is in the book. We get a lot of opinions, very unpleasant opinions of the president by James Comey, but in terms of hard facts, people are talking about bombshells. There are none. Basically, everything that he said in terms of the facts of what the president did. He already has testified before a congressional committee. And in fact, at one point he says, while he thinks the president's behavior may have been unethical, it may not have been illegal. The other thing that surprises me, frankly, is how bitchy the book is. Comey goes out of his way to say the president isn't as tall as he thought he was. He checked out the size of his hands the first time they shook hands, that he noticed that the president seemed to have little white half moons under his eyes. Maybe he had sun tanning.
Man, Comey should talk. He's got bags under his eyes.
Goggles that he wore.
He's got Samsonites.
I think one could argue that by getting into the kind of political food fight that James Comey...
He should say cat fight, not food fight. He already said it was all, like hissy fit stuff. Use a cat fight. Make it sound gay. That's funnier.
He had sun tanning goggles that he wore. I think one could argue that by getting into the kind of political food fight that James Comey has done more damage to his own reputation than he has to President Trump's. What you get is Comey's opinions. He doesn't like Donald Trump, and he's offended by Donald Trump, and he thinks Donald Trump is a bad guy. And yes, he does compare him to a mob boss. But, in terms of real damage, people talk about bombshells. All of that is going to be like Fire and Fury, the Michael Wolff book. It'll be like a 4th of July sparkler that burns bright for a week and then just peters out.
Well, we'll see about that. But that does sound, he's talking about his hands. I mean, what is he, like total Dementia B-bot nut job?
He sounds like a nut job.
Yeah, but I didn't expect that from him.
Comey?
Yeah, you would have thought him, he's so stately and lawyerly, and you'd think it would be, like an intellectual book, and now it just sounds, or I'm sure this is Fox News making it sound even worse than it is.
I bet he had a ghostwriter who had to liven it up. You want to sell copies or not?
Was that our friend there from National Enquirer? Sharon, what's her name? I want her to write
liven it up.
I want her to write my book. Liven it up, baby. Here's Comey on with Stephanopoulos. Showing his colors.
But at some level, wasn't the decision to reveal influenced by your assumption that Hillary Clinton was going to win and your concern that she wins? This comes out several weeks later, and then that's taken by her opponents as a sign that she's an illegitimate president.
I also love how Stephanopoulos is saying that she would win and that she would be an illegitimate president, and
It must have been. I don't remember consciously thinking about that, but it must have been. Because I was operating in a world where Hillary Clinton was going to beat Donald Trump. And so I'm sure that it was...
How do you reconcile that with the FBI being a world that is completely neutral of everything? What world was he living in? If he was FBI director, then isn't your world just, let the chips fall where they may? No. He says quite clearly, I was operating in a world where Hillary Clinton was going to be the next president, going to beat Donald Trump. I mean, right there, he's condemning himself.
I find this abhorrent.
But it must have been, because I was operating in a world where Hillary Clinton was going to beat Donald Trump. And so I'm sure that it was a factor. Like I said, I don't remember spelling it out, but it had to have been that she's going to be elected president. And if I hide this from the American people, she'll be illegitimate the moment she's elected, the moment this comes out.
If you knew that letter would elect Donald Trump, you'd still send it?
I would. In fact, that was a question asked by one of my best people, a deputy general counsel in the FBI, who was a very thoughtful and quiet person who didn't speak a lot. And that morning we were making that decision, she asked, should you consider that what you're about to do may help elect Donald Trump president? And I paused, and then I said, thank you for asking that question. That's a great question.
That's not a great question.
But the answer is not for a moment, because down that path lies the death of the FBI as an independent force in American life. If I ever start considering whose political fortunes will be affected by a decision, we're done.
And he just finished saying exactly that. I was living in a world where the political assumption was Hillary Clinton was going to win. But if I ever start thinking that, we're done.
He was thinking it.
I mean, is it just my interpretation? I could be a little too Dementia A here. But
you could be a little too Dimension A, yes.
Come on with your breeze, baby.
I don't know. I have no idea. The guy sounds like he's nuts.
He's a showboat. He's a grandstander.
The FBI director has no credibility.
He's the wrong man for that position.
Comey.
James Comey. Comey.
How about one more clip? And I have a number of end of show clips. For some reason, we got one mix and 1, 2, 3, like 4 complete song productions. Which and even 2 with the same song, the same melody, different song, different topic. Blackbird by Paul McCartney.
Wow.
Yeah, talk about your random number theory. So
you want to put the Blackbird ones off till the next show?
No.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, since if you have one last clip, then we can go, and then I can play those.
I got a couple last clips, but
we're good.
Here's a clip. Well, let's just play this. Well, there's actually a couple. This is a clip I dug up from the archives, and I wanted to. There's never been a follow up on it, and I'm going to do the follow up. This is the dump on fire for 5 years.
In another important story, we've been reporting on an unusual number of rare cancers near an old nuclear waste dump outside St. Louis. Well, tonight, the folks who live nearby have a more immediate worry. There is a fire burning underground, possibly within 1,000 feet of the nuclear waste. And Benita Nair is following this.
We are sick. Our kids are sick, and we're dying.
Hundreds of people jammed into a Bridgeton Union Hall last night, demanding to know if nuclear waste sitting in their local landfill could lead to disaster.
We don't go outside. We don't open our windows.
You can't 100% guarantee that we're okay.
The nuclear waste was illegally dumped in the landfill in the 1970s. It was the byproduct of processing uranium for America's nuclear weapons program. An underground fire has been slowly burning at the landfill for 5 years. Residents are worried the fire could ignite the nuclear material that's about 1,000 feet away.
And we will look at subsurface temperatures.
The Environmental Protection Agency and the landfill owner, Republic Services, insist that's not true. Russ Nocky is the company's spokesman.
Are you guys 100% sure that the underground fire will never touch the waste?
We are confident that the Bridgeton landfill is in a managed state.
Missouri's Attorney General is not so confident. He is suing Republic Services, saying his experts tell him it's possible the underground burn could reach the nuclear material in 3 to 6 months. Ed Smith from the nonprofit Missouri Coalition for the Environment says if the underground fire meets the nuclear material, he fears an environmental emergency.
It's not some wild speculation that if there's a fire...
Here's the thing, and I'm sure a suratomic rod will pipe in, jump in, pile on. Does it matter? Does it matter if the fire reaches the nuclear material? I don't know.
Well, what they've done was they built a wall.
Yeah.
An underground wall between where they think the nuclear material is and the dump. And the dump, as far as I can tell, is still burning.
Okay. Will that work?
I think the whole... I don't know why they can't put this... I mean,
Why can't they put the fire out? Why can't they put the fire out?
Well, these underground fires, I mean, there's coal fires around the world that have been burning for hundreds of years and they can't put them out.
Huh.
Hundreds of years. They think there's one that may be 500 years burning.
Wow, and this is St. Louis?
No, not in... No coal fires like in Greece and places. Yeah, there's an old coal fire burning in St. Louis.
I didn't mean that, but it was funnier that way. But this is a garbage dump fire in St. Louis?
Yeah.
Why is that on fire? It just caught fire?
Spontaneous combustion.
Nice.
It happens a lot because people throw out all kinds of weird stuff, and the next thing you know, it catches on fire and then it starts burning. In a low oxygen environment and can burn and smolder for like decades.
Nice.
Yeah.
They should turn it into a tourist attraction.
They should.
I'd go look at that. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, they had a thing going on in California.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's some area in California where the ground is red hot. And they have no idea why.
Huh. Like you can't stand on it with your bare feet hot, or?
Yeah.
Oh.
That hot.
Wow. That place is a mess.
What, California?
Yeah. Just sell your home. Get out of there.
I don't know what you're...
You should move to Vegas.
You're a hater.
I am. You should move to Vegas. You would be,
yeah, there you go.
You would be very funny from Vegas.
Yeah, John Navarro here in Lost Wages, Nevada. I just flew in from Lost Wages, and boy, are my arms tired.
I'm trying to launch this meme over here. So, the Dutch, especially the kids, they love using English words. And, then now it's all hip hop. It's just, everything on the radio, there's Dutch songs with English lyrics in it. It's really very interesting to listen to. But they're all using the term lit, which was, it's still pretty big in the States, I guess. But it's like, yeah, man, that party was lit. That girl was lit. Oh, man, it's so lit. Everything's lit. And I'm just hearing this over and over again. And so there's a number of millennials, not 20-year-olds, who I'm around while I'm on this trip. And I said, hey, just want you guys to know, look, I'm from America. Lit is kind of out. This is not the term we're using anymore. Do you want to use whatever the hip term everybody's using? Like, yeah. It's blotto.
Blotto.
And they're buying it. It's like, it's blotto, bro.
Buying it.
Yes, they're buying it. Like, yeah, man,
well, that's a good
blotto.
term. It's from the 30s, but it's a good term.
I think we can relaunch. I think it could be worldwide. Blotto. Yeah, hashtag blotto.
Yeah, blotto.
But they're all like, yeah, man.
What is your definition of blotto? What do you think it means?
Extremely drunk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly what it means.
But so does the original lit. That was also.
That's right. It was lit. That was something in the 50s.
Right. So it's the same term, except blotto is so lame. It's just I want to convince everybody it's cool. And the reason why I hate it is because
I think it is cool.
Well, the reason why to me it's funny. When I did my episode of Swamp Thing, in the script there was this line where Nathan, the rock god, was supposed to say, "Oh man, I don't know what happened. I was totally blotto." I'm like, this is the 90s. Rock guys don't say they were blotto. They say they were wasted, hammered. No. It was written this way, so you have to stick to the script. Curry, shut up. And whenever of course, my acting was stellar in this, but that really ruined.
I think everyone who's ever listened to our shows has gone back and looked at your acting.
It really ruined my
kindly
performance.
Say nothing.
It really ruined my performance. Okay, and today I'm going to tweet my rocket car of death video. That'll make up for the blotto, for the Swamp Thing.
Blotto.
Hashtag blotto, baby. Hashtag blotto. All right, you got one more clip?
Stone used to mean drunk, too.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, tell me what happened on this story. This is the Falklands. This is another old clip, Falklands.
Exploration companies drilling for oil off the Falklands have come up with extremely encouraging results. One well delivered a column of oil of more than 480 meters. The CEO of Rockhopper, one of the exploration firms, thinks the Falklands are sitting on a billion-barrel basin. Even the oil drilling itself has become an important element of the island's economy. But Argentina could use the oil revenue to pay down its huge sovereign debt. The British government has dismissed Argentina's claims as speculation. The UN recommendation is not legally binding. Falkland Islanders themselves overwhelmingly want to remain British. Any change in sovereignty would undoubtedly involve a lengthy diplomatic row.
And that's it from your business desk. And now, Brian, you have some news from your favorite sport, cricket.
Okay.
Did you remember that the Falklands have a shit ton of oil?
Well, I knew there was a reason the British were fought over it. I mean, I'm sure they didn't care about the actual ground itself or the people. Is anyone on the islands?
They have a bunch of people there.
Oh, okay. What's a bunch? Like more than 24?
No. No, that'd be dozens.
A dozen. Yeah, what's a bunch?
A couple thousand, I think.
Okay. Yeah, no. No.
Yeah,
yes.
no.
Yes, I'm quite sure. I was aware of that. But this is a recent clip or is this an archive clip?
This is an archive clip, and I haven't heard anything about it since.
Well, it's because...
look at Falklands population.
I mean, I think it comes down to just... your barrel your price per barrel of oil is determined not just by what it takes to get it out of the ground, but also what kind of military has to move. The U.S. Resource Extraction Team, i.e., our Department of Defense.
About 3,000.
That's a bunch.
Yeah, that's a bunch to me.
So I think that's how it's priced, and like the Falklands too expensive right now. It's cheaper to do it in the sand for some reason. and maybe even cheaper to do it here in the States. But yeah, they got to factor all of that in.
Actually, let me give you this. This is the population of the Falklands, and it's actually just under 3,000, I'll bet. And I say that because it said 29 something, and I figure, well, it's probably 3,000 by now. But I'm going to give you the population in 2016 was 2912.
Mm-hmm.
The population in 2017 was 2919.
Ooh, we had some people doing the nasty the year before. That's just my guess.
Yeah, I'm trying to just look at the sex ratio there. Seems to be a lot of men.
Dudes. Bunch of dudes on an island. It's all oil workers. Come on, that's the only people who live there. All right, everybody.
Well, they're British and they're staying that way.
Yeah. This was your No Agenda show for April 15th. Pretty much tax day. Please remember us for Thursday's program at Dvorak.org/NA. I'll be back in the Cludio. Looking forward to that. Miss my keeper. And I'm Blotto, baby. We're coming to you from the Garden of Amsterdam, Loudon, and Gitmo Nation Lowlands, the Netherlands. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from Biloxi, actually close to Biloxi, where they're having the Black Spring Break, which is quite an event. And that's what they call it, and it's copyrighted. I'm John C. Dvorak.
Until Thursday, as always, we say, adios, mofos! I don't know if you can call me a cab today.
Taxi!
Okay, this is Blackburn. Senator Blackburn.
So I've got to ask you, I think what we're getting to here is who owns the virtual you?
Congresswoman, I believe that everyone owns their own.
Where does privacy rank as a corporate value?
Congresswoman, I believe that everyone owns their own.
I can't let you filibuster right now. Will you commit to pass privacy legislation? Will you commit to doing that?
Congresswoman, I'm not directly familiar
I can't let you filibuster
the detail.
right now.
I certainly think that regulation in this area.
Let's get familiar.
Congresswoman, giving people control of their information. The reality is, if you have a photo, if you just think about this in your day-to-day life.
I can't let you filibuster right now.
Let me tell you something right now. Diamond and silk is not terrorism.
I'm sorry, that's unacceptable, Blackburn.
Blackburn singing in the dead of night. Grill Mark Zuckerberg until he fries. Testifies. Everyone's been waiting for this moment to arrive. Zuckerberg fry. Zuckerberg fry. Maybe it's time to hang him high.
Blackburn understands.
In the morning,
dead of night. Take out all the Russians that you find all your life. You've been waiting for this chance to blow it all sky high. Tomahawk missiles in the dead of night. Even if the reason is a lie, Assad must die. It's time we blew it up to send a message to this guy.
Riders on the stormy, riders on the stormy. They say that Trump felt horny when he saw her the pony. He called her on the phone to organize a bone. Riders on the Stormy. There's a lawyer off the road. They say he took out a bank loan. He said he had to pay to make it go away. But on the phone he lied, now they're locking him inside. Lawyer off the road. Yeah. Mueller, get your man. Mueller, get your man. The one with the small hand. Make him understand. The Russia case depends that you never find an end. Mueller, get your man.